Cool Box Live. I'm Erik Tait, your host, alongside my good buddy Nick Locapo. How you doing, Nick?
Eric, here we are. What are we doing?
Oh, we are giving away way too much magic.
We are giving away magic. Finally.
This is very exciting.
We've been wanting to give away magic.
Yeah, we've been, if you guys are regular viewers of the Top 20 Countdown, you know that the last few weeks we've been able to have some fantastic discounts on one download. Well, this week it changes.
I don't even know how many discounts we got.
There's
Lots.
so much.
There's a lot.
So there's going to be a discount code that's going to apply to a lot of different stuff in tonight's show. We're going to start the show off by talking about some of the hot new magic, and then we're going to get into the discounts. And the discounts you want to stick around for. There's one where I think the savings are...
Yeah, what is it, $80, $60 savings on something?
$60 savings on one.
Yeah.
There's another that's going to be a $10 savings.
Yeah.
There's going to be some crazy savings. There's some stuff that's pretty high price, some stuff that's more down on the lower end, and there's just some amazing stuff all across the board. Mentalism, card magic, stand-up, close-up, downloads. It's going to be crazy.
And as always, we're here to answer questions.
Yep.
Right, so if we're talking about any particular trick that you have thoughts about, please... type it in on YouTube. I got YouTube open here.
I got Facebook Live over here. I can see it on my iPad. So we're keeping an eye on everything that's going on in the respective chats everywhere that we are streaming live, and we are here to answer your questions. But let's get into the first thing. I think you're going to be.
Yeah, well, we've had a lot of questions about this over the last few weeks. It popped in the top 20 when we did the show, I believe, last week. And this week I just figured we'd kind of clear up some of the things around it. We're talking about bipolar. We have a fun little clip here that we can play. I know you're familiar with this trick, Eric, because this was kind of a team effort. Yeah. So you basically show the audience a joker, right? And then it's got a blue back. You toss it in the air, and it changes into a red card. But it also doesn't just change on the back, it also changes on the face as well. Super visual, super easy to do.
Yeah.
And when you get it, it comes in this fun little packaging here.
Yeah, you can see that. You can take a look.
There's bipolar up there. Cool. And it comes with a card that's already ready to rock right out of the package.
Now, I think the question that has often come up with this is, does it always change into the same card?
Well, yes, this one will. It's going to change from the joker. It's always going to be a joker. And then it's always going to be a face card that it will change into. What that face card is, it's random, depending on whatever they made down in the warehouse. So I don't even know what this one is. I think it might be a queen. But really, this trick's really easy to do. The hardest part is just catching the card. Yeah, right? I think toss it up in the air.
That is absolutely proof right there of what's going on with this. It's in general, it's actually pretty easy to catch. We've actually got an air conditioner here because we're in suits.
Yeah. No, it's just I suck and I didn't catch the card is what happened. I did it live.
There's some neat stuff in here too. Can we have that clip playing again between us? There we go. Oh man, I love that right there. That is really cool. There's some really neat stuff. Actually, we see some stuff in the chair. Oh, hi, Alan Ayala from Mexico. Hi, Alan. But I'm not sure if it's actually in this or not, but there's a neat thing that you actually teach on here where the card splits.
I might even be able to do it. Let me find a card real quick.
Let's let Nick run off screen real quick because there's a really cool version of this trick where, you can actually see it right there. Nick just did it in the video.
I'll try to do it here.
Throws the blue card in the air and then it splits into two different red cards, which is really cool. Myself and Nick Popa also teach a couple of routines on this particular download. This is a real team effort here. It's a really, really fantastic trick. It looks great on Instagram, but it also looks great in real life. I mean, you can actually see that we go out into the wilderness, into the hinterlands, and we perform this for real people. Let's go back to the wide shot here with just Nick. Can he split the card?
Well, so what's fun is that the card itself, and we go over this in the tutorial. The card, the way that it works is that, I mean, it's actually quite the contraption.
Yeah.
But it has an ability to kind of contain something. So in the tutorial, I talk about two things. One is this little split thing I'll show you, and I haven't done it in a few months now at this point, so who knows if I'll catch it. But also, I teach something on the tutorial. We put some confetti inside the card.
That's such a good idea.
So when you throw it, not only does it change color and thing, but it also sprays confetti everywhere.
That's great.
I'm not doing it here because Rob, if you're watching, Rob would be pissed at me. Okay, so anyway, who knows if this will work, but basically this will split into two cards when I throw it up in the air. Yep. I almost got both.
So close.
Oh.
You did catch the gimmick, though.
Yeah, I did catch the gimmick card, but yeah, and obviously you could have it the same color if you want.
That brings something up, because we are talking about a gimmick here that has moving parts. And so the real question that I think a lot of people have about this particular thing is, yeah, I get a gimmick, but what happens if the gimmick breaks? And
yeah, so that's great, especially lately on a lot of the tutorials that we film here in-house. We like to try to just show you how to break the gimmick and then how to put it back together. So Seth Race, we brought him on because he's the one that made all of these. Our whole manufacturing team here, JD Roll and
Nick
Popa and Rachel.
Yep.
They all put these together, and so we want to highlight that as well. So we brought in the team to show you how to fix it if it breaks. I see another question here. Is it, John Green says, is this the same as Bob Swadling's changing card now being marketed in the UK by Richard Young? Popa, you know the answer to that one? They are different. Actually, I did hear about this.
I did. They are different.
Different method, right?
They're different. Yeah.
They do the same thing.
They do the same thing, but they work in different ways.
Yeah, okay.
I think two people arrived at the same conclusion, but through different map journeys.
Gotcha. And if so, is Bob credited? Well, no, because it's definitely a different method than Bob's, and we love Bob Swadling here. Bob's an old friend down in Florida, so Bob, if you're watching, hey.
This is a really solid gimmick, though. There's a lot. There's a lot of
gimmick.
Interesting things that you can do with this. Everyone who was working on this project, we all took like different paths to try and come up with different tricks, and it really ended up with something fun that a lot of people were learning.
Yeah, because you taught a what was it, a transposition routine?
I did, yeah. So the routine that I teach is a transposition effect, where somebody selects a card. And then I bring out the magic joker. Again, I haven't done this routine in a couple of months.
Yeah.
But yeah, somebody selects a card, and then I place it. Yeah,
I just remember you have the king in one hand, the joker here.
That's right. Yeah. That's what it was. The king is on top of the deck over here in this hand, and I've got the joker over here. You throw the joker in the air. The joker transforms up here, and when you look back down here, the king is now gone, and it's transformed into the joker. And I teach a fun little way to clean it up at the end, so you can actually hand out both the card that changes and the card that they selected.
Yeah,
so it's a fun little routine that is if you're going to do a transposition, I think it's especially like a super visual transposition.
Yeah. And Popa on there has got one as well. We don't have the Popa camera set up this week, but
because we got this new fantastic, like you can see everything that's going on here with
moving out of the well, no.
Look at that. Yeah, we got all kinds of fun things going on here. But by the way, thanks so much for sticking with us, guys, as we transition into this new format. And please be sure to share this video, because we have a lot of big discounts coming up, and a guest appearance, I hope, by Kevin Relic.
That's right. We do have a guest tonight.
So be sure to share the video that you're watching on the social media platform of your choice. But let's move on to number 2 this week. This is the Impromptu Magic Project by Vinnie Grosso. This is a very exciting thing that Vinnie has chosen to share with us through Penguin Magic. You are getting a whole bunch of people on this. Basically, what Vinnie did was get the Avengers of Magic together. We've got Banachek, we've got Mike Caveney, Bill Hers, Matt King, and Chris Kenner. They all get together, and they're at Matt King's house, and they teach Vinnie some great magic, some impromptu magic, which is really cool.
Yeah.
Then Vinnie goes to a dinner party that night and performs the magic and films it, the magic that he learned that morning. Then he sits down the next day with them again at Matt King's house. They watch the performances and tear him apart.
It's crazy.
But they also build him up. They say like, hey, we didn't think about this. This is a great idea. Oh, you know what I thought about last night was doing this one. These are really, really great tricks. These are impromptu tricks too. So it's just, you're always wondered, like, what does Banachek do when he is asked to do an impromptu effect? It's really, really interesting. I mean, you watched quite a bit of this, didn't you?
I did. I watched all of it. All of it. There's three parts, right, which are all available right now.
Actually, that brings up an interesting question that I wanted to ask you, because I've only watched a little bit of the first part, and it's on my list to watch the whole thing. But it does come out in 3 parts. And we keep talking about this like, you know, they teach the trick, and then there's the part where they perform the trick, and then there's a part where they, rehash the trick. If you're buying the different parts, are you like getting the individual thing?
Yeah,
or like, what is the 3 parts broken up into?
It's like 3 or 4 tricks per part.
Oh,
okay. And I think it might be one trick. Maybe it's one trick from each guy. Like you get one Banachek, one Caveney, one Kenner, one Hers, one King trick. That might not be true. Don't quote me on that.
I think it's like 3 or 4.
There's at least 3 or 4, and you go through the whole thing. So you watch them talk about the trick. like Bill Hur's, let's say it's a Bill Hur's trick. He teaches it to Vinnie,
Yep.
sits down at the table, shows him, so you see that performance. And then Vinnie goes out and does it at a party or something.
Which is wild.
And
just
then,
wild.
and then they go back to the couch the next day or whatever, and they play it for the group. So Matt King and all those guys. And everybody else hasn't seen the trick yet. They don't know what trick that Bill Hur's had Vinnie do, right? So that's when he gets the constructive feedback. So that's kind of like what you get per trick for everything.
It's a really interesting project, and I think the other thing that's really cool is you hear the question a lot, oh, it's an impromptu trick. Are they really that impromptu? And the answer to that is yes. I mean, like, there's the things that he's performing on this are just, they're literally, they're pulling stuff out of their pockets. There's stuff that you're gonna see at a dinner table or wherever. You know, I think the most there is like a pen or a paper or
These
a
are the
phone.
tricks that these guys do,
Yeah.
impromptu. Matt King, Bill Hur's, Kenner, this is the stuff. This is definitely the stuff, so. But do we have a performance? that we want to
No,
show?
this we don't have a performance of. We've shown a number of performances as well, and but we don't have a performance this week. I think if this comes up, we're going to have some other performances
Gotcha.
out there, but at the moment we don't. I think we should probably move on to number 3. This one has actually got your name
Well,
written
yeah,
all
this one.
over it.
Yeah, Ringing the Bell. Ringing the Bell, this was just came out a couple weeks ago, and I've gotten a load of questions about it. So I brought the bell with me, and I wanted to kind of walk through exactly what you get and what goes on with the routine. However, I also have a full performance clip, which I think if you watch it will really show you what this trick is all about. You can watch the demo of this and you'll understand what it is, but a lot of people have questions about how fast is the load and all these things. Obviously, if you haven't seen the trick yet, you have no idea what I'm talking about, but you'll see exactly how quick this trick is and how powerful it is with this performance that we've put together with Reynolds. So take a look at this.
What about this one? Let me see. Can I see this one? It's a more simple one.
Yeah?
Is it an expensive ring?
I got it in Spain.
Sentimental value?
I got it in Spain, yeah.
Also has sentimental value. Okay. At the bell, I'm gonna wave the bell over my hand. Hold on to the bell. Ring a bell over. Yes, gently, gently. Nothing of sleep, nothing. Gone. But wait. Close your hand. If you ring the bell over your hand, it's gonna appear in your hand. Gently ring, open your hand. Oh no, close again, you have to further apart so the sound travels better. Open your hand, further up. Yeah, there you go. Open your hand. You know why the bell rings?
Why?
Because there's a ring in the bell.
My ring is in the bell.
So it's a good thing you get your
My ring back?
ring back.
That this is a fantastic trick to be able to do, and how fast it can be done, right? I think the total time on that clip that you just watched is about a minute long. And so let's just take a look at the gimmick so you can see exactly what you'll get with Ringing the Bell. This is the fun little box right here. It's a cool box. And this is the bell. I'm gonna put this down on the floor. This is the actual bell. It's not gonna ring right now because I don't have the gimmick on the inside of it. You might notice in the performances that Reynolds is using a bell that looks brass, and that's because that was the original prototype that we filmed with about 2 or 3 years ago. Since then, there's been some improvements made to this bell that the original bell couldn't do, which is why we ended up with this bell.
I think that's one of the interesting things that's going on with this is we really did improve it, and you can now ring it.
Yes.
Without the ring in it.
Right.
Which is interesting to me because if I'm not mistaken, this is different from the El Duco bell. Can you actually talk a little bit about how
so
this is different from the El Duco bell?
history of Ringing the Bell starts with an older trick from El Duco, which is still available. You can get it on his website. And the thing with his method, this is a totally different method. As Reynolds says, because I've never played with El Duco's method, who makes gorgeous stuff, by the way. I don't know if you've ever had one of his reels.
I have not had one of his reels, but
They're like the Cadillac
I've had the opportunity to play with them.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
it's, oh man, they're amazing.
Yeah, anyway, so his method for Ringing the Bell requires some accuracy and some precision, and even then it still might not stay on the bell. With this, It's just you're never missing. You're never missing. So obviously you just saw Reynolds perform it in real time. The one main difference between the bell that Reynolds is using in that clip and this bell here is that Reynolds' bell originally cannot be rung before the trick.
That's right.
Right? The bell can't ring unless there is a ring loaded inside of the bell. Right? Now we've fixed that problem, which is why you end up with this gorgeous silver bell. Okay?
Now, could you apply this gimmick to your own bell if you wanted to?
You could. You definitely could. You're going to need to know what the secret is for sure.
I feel like this is one of those things where once you know the secret, you could take apart this bell and apply it to another
Sure.
bell. But you would need to be a bit of someone who is into some arts and crafts.
Yeah.
Has a couple of
and there
maker
are some,
skills.
There are some metal things to keep in mind with this, the way that this works. There's some weird head scratching things like, oh, I think that worked. No, it doesn't. It's just.
I remember when we were doing some prototyping, because I know you were heavily involved in the prototyping, that there was a couple of times that we thought we were there, and those properties made it difficult.
Right.
Yeah.
So you'll know exactly what we're talking about if you have the bell. But the load couldn't be more simple.
Let's see it. Let's take a look at the load.
So you borrow the ring. There's a special. There's only one thing you even have to do here, and that's you're just going to add something to this ring. I've already added it on. It's not even a thing. It's there's no move here. There's nothing. You're just doing something. You're just looking at the ring and putting something on it. And then as you put the ring in this hand, you go back to the bell. You grab the bell, give it a ring, and it's loaded. And that's it.
It's honestly, it shocks me kind of every time how fast that load is. It's really great. Now the other question that we see coming a lot with this is, could you damage the ring with this?
Good question. Yes. Well, yes and no. Because I would say if you had some sort of, all you have to use is common sense, right? Because yes, you are banging a ring inside of a bell. There's nothing out of the ordinary inside this bell that you wouldn't expect to find in any other bell. So just put that out.
I think the point is that as long as you're not going to go out and try and raise money for the Salvation Army with this, you're going to be fine. Yeah.
You're going to be fine. Yeah. I would suggest not borrowing a ring with a bunch of stones in it or something. I just typically borrow men's rings anyway, just because of previous experiences in my own past. But let's see if there's any.
I think the last question I know that I've got right now going
examinable.
on is, is it examinable?
I think so. Because if you look in here, you're really exposing the gimmick, but you're not at the same time because there has to be something in the bell that makes it ring, right? Why? I haven't done the deep dive to figure out if the spectators even care how the ring is attached to the bell.
I've seen multiple people perform with this now, and I've seen a number of people actually hand the bell over to have the spectators ring it, and and there's a little bit of miming involved, just gently ring the bell while you do this. And it's been in there. I've seen it in the spectator's hands. Yeah. It's not super examinable, but you can put it in the spectator's hands.
You absolutely can put it in the spectator's hands. It's just don't put yourself in a position that you're please look inside the bell, but they can totally look inside the bell, and I just don't think anybody would know what this is. Yeah. They know something needs to be there already. They know something exists.
A bell doesn't work without a clapper.
Right. So that's ringing the bell.
I think we should move on now. And not only should we move on, but we should move on to the deals. So right now, this is where you guys you're going to want to get your pen and paper, because we're going to be slinging the deals thick and fast. The first one that we're going to talk about, I see Katie Moneymaker there in the chat. I know that she is going to be a big fan of this one. So I think let's throw it. You know quite a bit about it.
Yeah. So we got really excited because we're going to be putting together some tricks that you guys can save some money on. And I do know Halloween season is approaching fast, so I was excited to put this one on the show in particular. And even more so because he's definitely one of our favorite performers here at the theater. So we have an extended clip for you, and then we'll come back to the studio and talk about it. But take a look at Bob Cassidy and his Slate Killers.
The experiment you're about to see was devised by a guy named Dr. Slade, one of the most notorious spirit mediums of the 19th century. Houdini went after him for a long time. Half the world was convinced he was a fraud. The other half were convinced that he was real. I won't tell you which way this experiment is, but I was always fascinated with him. He used pieces of silicate Silicate is what slate is made out of. Most people think of a slate, you think of the things you see in the toy store, you know, with the wooden frame. He just used pieces of slate. I have 2 pieces right here. And he used actually very small ones like this. I have them paper clipped together. And what he did was, he'd show them to his people. Okay, see, these still have chalk from last time I did them. And he would clean them or whatever before he did this. But he showed them on both sides very cleanly. Putting them together, he used a piece of string or cord. I'm using a paper clip because I'm much more modern than Dr. Slade was. Will you hold out your hand, please, Jessica? I'm going to place that on your hand. Put your other hand on top. I will not touch those again. Now, in a typical Slade seance, which he did for Abraham Lincoln, by the way, who was a great believer in this. Many seances were held in the White House during Lincoln's administration. Not many of you may know, did you know that Lincoln foresaw his own death? He had a dream that it would happen. But Mary Todd, his wife, would constantly, and Slade did come to the White House and perform something very similar to this. Now, I don't want to make this morbid. The way he did it, you would concentrate on somebody in your family or somebody close to you who had passed on to the other side, and we would attempt to make a communication. My job tonight, though, is not to bum you out. You know, and people all start crying and, oh, I don't believe that happened. No. So instead, we'll try a more neutral test. I have here, this is a paperback edition of Webster's, Random House Webster's Pocket Dictionary. You can verify that what I'm saying is true. 40,000 words. That's a lot. The average person has a vocabulary, speaking vocabulary, about 10 to 20,000 words. So if I have a person, if I say to somebody, well, think of any word in the English language, you know what happens? It's pretty common what they'll think of. Most people don't think of the same thing. That's why I like to use a dictionary. It gives a much greater selection. Your name, please? Emily. Emily, I'm just going to flip through the dictionary like this, okay? And as I do so, look at me. As I flip through like that, just say stop, okay? Right there? Look at the first word on the page. You have it?
No, because I can't.
The bold one on the top, can you see it? Can you see it? The very top one in the dark?
It's really small. Yes.
You got it? Yeah. This could be any word in the English language, obviously, among 40,000. Nice and loud.
Sorry.
Oh, he's telling you what it was? Okay.
I'm so sorry.
Nice and loud. And again, we'll do the monitor when we come back to you with the slates. The spirits now will try to reveal this thing you're only thinking of. In ancient times, what I'm showing you right now was called a book test. The way Slade would do it, he'd go into a trance and he'd start saying things like, you'd think of a question or something, and he'd start saying, Psalms 23, line 4, word 6. People would go, what? And they'd get that he was talking about the Bible or something. And they'd go open a Bible to that page, Psalms 23, page, line number. And that very word would relate, sometimes very directly, to what the person was thinking of. Now, again, I've kind of modified this a bit to make it more palatable. But you have a word in your mind. It could have been any word in the English language. Nice and loud so everyone can hear. Tell us what that word is.
Falcon.
Again?
Falcon?
Falcon, like a bird? F-A-L-C-O-N. Will you stand up, please? I've not touched these. I've shown them to you blank on both sides, correct?
Right.
We clipped them together. She's been holding them between her hands the entire time. Those who are watching closely may have noticed when I showed them to you on both sides, there was chalk dust on them. The idea now is to make it congeal. Would the spirits know what word would be selected after I gave her the slates? Remove the paper clip. Hand me the paper clip and separate the slates. Show them what is there now. Falcon.
So, as you can see, awesome performance by Bob.
That is amazing.
Yeah, fun stuff.
I am just floored. Every time, it's really interesting to see someone of Bob Cassidy's caliber working a routine like that, because I've always seen slates, but you never see slates actually used.
No, yeah. And he he's got that way of like educating the audience about why he's using these things, and he talks about the history of slates and all that. But this is an exciting download that you can watch because, like I mentioned before, Halloween is approaching, and this can get you more in like the seance spirit style of mentalism.
I think what's really exciting now, what we should, because now we are into the deals portion of this show. So actually, if you see right here, yep, right there, you see how it says the list price is $39.95, but you see below that is, one of these days I'm going to learn how to do this. Right there is the promo code. All of the tricks that we are talking about now, if you enter the promo code CoolBoxLive at your checkout, you're going to get 25% off all of the tricks from here on out that we are talking about tonight. It doesn't matter if you add one, add all of them. We're going to be talking about a bunch of different tricks. If anything is up your alley from here on to the end of the show and you want to get a discount on it, enter CoolBoxLive. And that code is going to be good until
Friday at midnight, I believe.
Friday at midnight.
And that's off each item, right?
Yeah.
So every item you're going to save at least 25%. In some cases, we're going to be saving even more.
Yeah.
So we'll discover those as we go along.
It's very exciting. There's some big stuff you guys are going to be saving some money on very soon. It's
what
really
Bob
great.
tips here is all the work on the slates,
Yeah.
right? It's probably the most complete, video tutorial that exists on slate magic.
I think first of all, I don't even know where to get slates. Because I think that to me is the interesting part. Like, where do you get a slate?
Well, so
because these are mini slates.
Yeah, the
right?
slates that Bob is using in this, and it's probably fine to talk about here. It's maybe part of the secret of the tutorial, but it's a fascinating little thing. He's actually using. He cuts out from the black plastic on DVD cases.
No way.
Yeah, so we cut out squares from DVD cases, which apparently take chalk, and you can wipe chalk off of them.
That's crazy.
So you don't have to go to the store and get some fancy slates to do this stuff. You can just make those. And in fact, as Bob, you'll see in the tutorial, he tells you about, because you think about the slates and you think about this type of thing with the frame around it, right? When the spirit mediums first started, they didn't use those slates with the frames. They just used little pieces of slab, right?
Oh, okay.
So,
that makes sense because the slates with frames wouldn't have been something that would have been very common.
Right, it was
you would have had to like.
Yeah, and we, as magicians, we built gimmicks into them over time and all that. And Bob talks about all that on this download as well. But one of the other things that people ask is why would you even use slates at all?
Yeah, actually, why?
It's
now that I think about it, like I've got this. I have this right here. I've got an iPad. I've got this. I've got a phone. Why would I? So just today we filmed a great lecture with Nick Popa, and he taught how to do some really interesting mentalism using your phone. So if I have access to a phone, why do I use slates?
Yeah, because the spirits don't have phones, but they used to use slates. You know what? Let's ask Bob.
All right, Bob, why would we use slates? I think this is where
Why would you want to use slates? As I explained, the slates that I do use are just made by cutting the plastic from DVD cases, and I cut them approximately a playing card size. But they do need a rationale to use them in a performance. Certain types of performances, they're more appropriate than they would be in others. The ideal use of slates is in a seance type presentation or in a discussion of old spiritualist mediums. Typically before I use them, I discuss people like Dr. Slade, the notorious 19th century medium who would receive messages from the beyond on pieces of school slate, which was very common in his day. People wonder why mediums even today still use slates, and the reason is, one, it's a tradition, and I explain this to the audiences when I'm presenting this in order to rationalize the slate. It is traditional, and if we were to say doing a seance and I wanted to bring back a spirit of someone from the 19th century, because typically in a seance, done as entertainment, I don't want to bring back or apparently bring back a relative or somebody, a loved one of somebody who's in the audience. That's just too emotional, and it's an area I don't want to go to. If you want to bring back a spirit or apparently bring back a spirit, you're much safer ground by going to somebody from olden times. And it makes sense that the method of communication that you select from the beyond would be something that the spirit was familiar with in his life. If, for example, I wanted to communicate with Abraham Lincoln, it would be totally logical to use a school slate, because that's exactly what students used back in his day. In fact, they were used widely all the way through the 1930s.
Man, it's, what can you say about this? I mean, other than like, this is something interesting. If you do mentalism, if you do bizarre magic, and you're wanting to add slate routines, and you've never...
Well, I think it's just fun to be able to think about for the Halloween season, or just, in any show, but to be able to drop that spirit aspect into your work, it could really... slates are a fun way to go, because you're able to educate your audience on the past and, at least show them something that, the way that Bob performs this is true to the original spirit mediums back in the day. And he covers all of that in this tutorial that you can get for $10 off the regular price.
That's really exciting. Again, if you want to make that, if you want to save on Bob Cassidy's Slate Killers, just enter Coolbox Live as your promo code at checkout. But it's time to move on.
Well, let's clean up a couple questions.
Oh, sure, yeah.
And number one is we got, somebody mentioned, FPV Mafia says he gets slates on AliExpress for $30 per slate.
Wow.
Well, I'd rather just cut them out of the DVD.
no, that's a great tip.
But
thanks very
the
much for
DVD
sharing that
thing
with us.
I just mentioned, you saw him in that clip that we just showed of Bob. He was holding the DVD slates that he made. So, but yeah, thank you, FPV Mafia. And Adam Krutinger wanted to know when it was filmed, and it was filmed, I want to say, in 2000. It was 2014 or 15.
Yes.
It was one of the first shows that we had Bob here. And,
it was a while ago. I remember I wasn't working for Penguin at the time, but you and I were friends, and you were real excited about it. It was very interesting.
Bob was amazing. And that's not the end of Bob tonight. I think we might see Bob again in a little while.
I'm looking forward to it. I love the fact that one of the things that this show allows us to do is be able to show some like classic, never before seen performances.
And if you're out there, tell us what you think of that, because we're having a little internal debate.
Yeah.
We have all these amazing full performances that we can show. They never get shown otherwise unless you get the tutorial, but they're totally fine to show.
And I think we even have more than that. I mean, like, what was it? We showed on YouTube, there was that show that you and I were doing where we show a full uncut performance from Tom Mullica.
Yeah.
I mean, which is never, that footage has never been seen
Like, is that
else.
something that you guys want to see
if you
on
want
the show?
Tell us in the chat. So, apart from saving you guys money on tricks, tell us in the chat right now other things that you want to see on this show, because Nick and I can make that happen.
Yeah, we have all this. We have we have so much footage of everything.
Yeah,
right?
like, and literally at our fingertips.
But like, in no other format can I see us playing a full performance of the Bob Cassidy Slate Killers, right? So I don't know. If I'm way off, let me know. But I would love to play all performances if that's what you guys want to see.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But I think it's time for
move
us to move on.
Sorry.
Number 5 this week, the next thing you have an opportunity to save some money on is Miguel Angel Gaya Live. This is his first one. This is a fantastic lecture that you are going to love. There is a ton of really killer coin magic in here. I'm just going to start kind of going down a list because there's so much stuff that is talked about in the ad copy. If you're curious, you can hunt this up on penguinmagic.com and find out about it. But he does a coin and wand routine where he uses a wand to produce 3 coins and then vanish 3 coins, and you have no idea where they're coming from. There's a card sandwich routine that is just impossible. He teaches some coin and glass stuff that is really remarkable. There's a guessing, or not quite not quite an out of this world, but it's a small packet trick where the audience is saying which one's red and which one's black. That's very good. There's a whole extended segment that is all about something called the catapult move, which is a really popular coin sleight in Spain, that when you watch him do it, you know something's going on, but it's a little like the Jeremiah Zuhl lecture in that you're like, oh, I can't believe he's doing this. It's not terribly difficult, but it definitely adds to it. There's also a card and rubber band effect that is in the same vein as With the Band that recently came out from David Jonathan with some contributions by Dan Harlan, but it's very different and it's really, really exciting. There's a pen through coin. It looks like a cigarette through quarter, but it's so good because the hole gets bigger and bigger and bigger. If you've ever wanted to learn about sleeving, this is the lecture for you. He goes deep in depth on a whole bunch of different stuff to do with sleeving. And if you're familiar with Jay Sankey's In a Flash, he uses that deck or that type of gimmick to produce like 8 coins on the table from almost nowhere. But before Nick and I talk a little bit more about this, I think you need to understand how good this material is. So let's take a look at a piece of performance from Miguel Angel Gaya right now.
Hello. Okay, girl, come on. Thank you in your house. Thank you. Come on, okay, stop it. I need to do magic. And then I start with a classic effect, coin and card. I like the magic. And then I try to do small tricks, beautiful tricks, but with coin and card, with my technique or other technique. And I try to explain all the tiles, but I try to do, don't worry. 1, 2, 3, 4, sorry for my English is horrible, but my face is better, but bueno, more or less. 1, 2, 3, 4 coin and 1 glass, simple glass and simple coins. And I try to do classic trick, I try very clear. I take 1 essence of 1 coin, I put in my hand. If I do the snap of finger, this coin appear in my hand, and of course only 3. Yeah, but it's possible you think the glass have a hole, but no. Only this. I take 1, I put in my hand. If I don't do the snap of finger, it's nothing. Only if I do, the coin appear. And of course only 2. What will be happen if I do the snap of finger before I take off the essence? Through the glass. It's true. And only 1, very clear, 1, 2, 3 coin, and I try cover this hole. I cover. It's difficult, but I try. The coin travel, and of course. Okay. But I try to do 1, 2, 3, 4 coin. I try to do classic effect too. Classic magic. Not only new, classic, I try. Very clear, through the table. And 1, 2, 3 coin. And it's very easy, it's beautiful, no? Yes or no? I like very much. Okay, very clear. Very clear. 1, 2, 3, it's impossible to do more clear. 1, 2 coin, very impossible. 1 and 2, very clear. I try to do. It's impossible to do more clear. And then the last one, 1, 2, 3, introduce, and 1, 2, and the 4 coin through the table. Okay.
Really knockout stuff. I mean, just wild stuff. Hey, before we get too deep into this, I want to address a couple of things. One, we know that the stream is getting a little choppy every once in a while. There are some network connectivity issues in our area. We are working on trying to fix them, but some of that is a little bit out of our control. We're going to do our best to stay online as long as we can. And I saw there that from Scott Smith that you never get early notifications anymore for the show. Well, good news, we are always doing this stream every Sunday night at 9 p.m. Eastern, so you can set a reminder in your calendar. Also, if you like the Facebook page, I believe it gives you the option to set go live reminders for you, at least on Facebook. I think it might do that on YouTube as well.
Yeah, you can set the notification bell on YouTube, and that'll, it pops up on my phone when we go live. So
yeah, but let's talk a little bit about this live lecture, because I remember when this happened. I was not working for Penguin at the time, but you and I were friends, and you called me up and were like, "This is amazing."
I'm pretty sure I filmed that. I'd never seen coin magic like that.
It's so good.
This was probably in 2014 or 15, somewhere in there. And I'm sure some of you have never seen coin magic like that before as well. The thing about this, what do you think the skill level is for some of this stuff?
I'd say the skill level is a little all over the place, because there's some stuff. So I just watched this lecture last night, and one of the things that's interesting is that there's some stuff that's a little more difficult. There's some like hangpin chen type moves where you need to get the timing down, but there's also like that catapult move it's not hard, but it's not something you're going to be used to. But
the catapult move we saw on display in this last
We
thing.
saw it extremely on display. And there's some interesting transfers that happen where you're transferring, like in that thing that we just watched, And you could go back and watch that clip, and I guarantee you won't see him do it. I only know he did it because I watched the lecture last night.
Yeah.
And he's doing some stuff where he's like transferring the coin from one hand to the other while he's moving the glass from hand to hand. I played with it because I looked at it and I was like, there's no way that's easy. And I got it pretty quickly. It's
Now,
not,
that performance, there's no gimmicks on those coins.
No, that's the interesting thing.
But does he also teach some things with gimmicks?
There are a couple of things with gimmicks, but it's mostly sleight of hand stuff. But even then, the sleight of hand is not it's not crazy difficult. The sleeving, as long as you have big enough sleeves, as long as you're not that kid that we met in L.A. who was sleeving.
Jeffrey
Wang. Yeah,
oh,
yeah.
Man.
It doesn't require Jeffrey Wang style sleeving skills.
He sleeves without sleeves, man. He doesn't have any sleeves.
Yeah. But there's some really neat stuff in there. The card and rubber band is actually pretty interesting. It's not self-working, but it doesn't require anything.
I know that we get the questions all the time, like, "Hey, what's the best coin lecture? Hey, what's the best metal?" It happens all the time. And for years, this was my go-to answer for coins. Go here because this guy will just blow your brain out.
I mean, let's be fair. There's not a lot of coin magic that is self-working. All of it is going to require some sleights.
Some skill.
But this isn't. We're not talking Ponta the Smith level stuff here.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely fireworks involved. You're going to get some big reactions, but you're not you're not switching spellbound coins while throwing them and catching them at the fingertips or anything like that.
Now, he also came back and did a second lecture with us as well. I believe, there's also a great download by Miguel called the Beatbox, which we'll probably have on this show at some point or another as well. I loved this lecture, and I always remembered Miguel coming here because I remember when we were setting up, he listened to a lot of Megadeth, so I liked him right away. I remember that specifically.
It's funny when you watch these lectures, we get to hang out with these people and we find out their pre-show stuff. There was somebody else that was in recently. Who all they wanted to listen to was Steely Dan, but they had a specific.
Who was that?
I think it was Leor Manor.
It was Leor.
It was Leor Manor wanted to listen to Steely Dan, but he didn't want to listen to just any Steely Dan songs.
Yeah, he wanted
a specific Steely. It was great. It was excellent.
Well, we should move on, but before we do, we get some stuff here in the chat. Somebody said we should set up a streaming service for all the Penguin Live lectures.
We really should.
Yeah, we really should. Maybe one day. Maybe that is something that some people have been working on. I can't confirm or deny that, but good idea.
I got some stuff here in the Facebook chat. Lingus Lee, I know you made your Facebook name difficult to pronounce just for me on this show, but Lee says they would love to see some more underground mentalism gems. So I think we're going to absolutely make that happen. And some of our personal favorites. I think, you and I could throw some of our personal favorite performances that we know of in here.
Yeah, for sure.
We could definitely do that. I think that's maybe something that'll become a regular thing. We could do that.
John Green said, yes, performance footage is the best. Part of what he misses from the Penguin lectures is some of them, like the performances in the lectures. Also, Wallace says, Gay is a beast, and he is correct.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I just wanted to say Mustafa is in the chat, said both looking sharp.
Oh, thank you.
So we appreciate that. I also saw earlier in the chat, it was Dave Greisman said that we were looking pretty sharp. And also Eric Smearden says that my outfit is on point and yours is too. He guesses. So
he must have saw the stain I got on my tie before the.
We're trying to class it up for you folks.
Yeah,
we know that you have a lot of entertainment options on a Sunday night when looking at streaming magic things, and we're here to provide you with the best suited stream in magic.
We did it. We did it. I think we did it. All right. Moving on?
Yeah, let's move on.
The next one. The next deal. We got to figure out what that transitional phrase is.
We do have to do that. And again, Miguel Angel Gaya Live, Coolbox Live at discount. It's right here, right next to me. If you enter Coolbox Live at discount, you're going to get 25% off that, bringing it down to $22.47. I mean, that's a great deal.
Great deal.
Especially if you're interested in some coin magic.
Great deal. Hey, let's do a trick.
Let's definitely do a trick.
Let's do a trick. This is a great trick called Touch by Paul Curry.
Love it.
I figured I'd give you guys a little demonstration here. If we hit the overhead, or the wide and the overhead, and we can do all that.
Yeah.
Eric, you probably haven't seen me do. When was the last time you even saw a card trick at this point?
I think it was about 6 episodes of this ago when you did Position Impossible.
Oh yeah, good. Anyway, you can hit the overhead here. Eric, I'm going to have you think of a card, but before I do, I'm going to make a prediction.
Okay.
Let's get the Joker here. Where's the Joker? We use the Joker, all right? I'm going to write the name of a card that I think you're going to think of here on the face of the Joker.
Okay.
All right? Now, obviously, I'm not going to show you what I'm going to write, so I'm going to do that over here.
Okay.
Okay.
So you're writing the name of a card that I'm thinking of?
Yeah, maybe you've thought of it already.
I have it now.
You have it?
Yeah.
Okay. You will choose.
Oh, you're writing the whole thing.
Actually, I know what it is. You always think of the same card. Well, actually, everybody thinks of this card. Why would
Okay.
you be any different?
I mean, I think we all know that I have a penchant for a particular card, but I'm going to change it up right now just because I know that you know that card.
Okay. Well, whatever you want, Eric. It's your show. I have met my prediction here.
Okay.
I cannot change my mind. It is here. You can now think of any card or name any card that you want.
The 3 of spades.
The 2 of what?
The 3 of spades.
2 of spades?
No. The 2 of spades is the usual card that I think of.
The 3
I'm
of
thinking of
spades.
the 3.
The 3. This might not work.
I know. The only reason I ask you to do tricks on the show is so I can see you mess up.
No. So remember at the beginning, Eric, that I made a prediction here
Yeah.
on this card. And I actually wrote that, and I'll turn it over so you guys can see on the Joker. I wrote at the top that you will choose.
Yes.
And at the bottom, I wrote 3 of spades.
Let's see it.
No, I did. I wrote the 3 of spades.
Oh, that's so good.
3 of spades.
That is so good.
And that's it. I'm instantly reset and ready to go.
That's the
next
cool part, is how fast the reset is on this.
Yeah, there's no reset, and it can be any card at all. It does not matter what the card is.
I like the fact that you can also get the card in real time. It's really interesting that they can think of any card, and you're not you don't have to get way ahead.
No, there's nothing.
Because of the way the deck works. You're
Yeah,
already there.
so it is a special deck of cards that does that one trick, and it originated in this book right here, Paul Curry's Worlds Beyond.
Fantastic book.
This is a book that Hermetic Press put out.
It's actually, the Worlds Beyond by Paul Curry has actually been recently reprinted.
Yeah.
And so you can actually get your hands on it as well as a whole bunch of other stuff. I know that we talked about it a lot on this show. And
Yeah,
so
we have,
I
yeah.
don't know how many are left in stock. I don't want to cause
No
a-
idea.
But yeah.
No, Touch is in here. Page 206, Touch. It's one of the few fully gimmick tricks in the book. This book is just loaded with amazing magic. Out of This World is originated in here, and some Perfect Miracles, another one of my favorites in this book. So Touch was in there, and there was some issues with the original handling. If you'd ever looked at that trick, the issues are pretty obvious.
Yeah.
You could still do it. It was wildly popular in the 40s,
Yeah.
30s, 40s, somewhere in there.
The problems, though, were that not only did you have to make the deck, it would be a little difficult to make. And
Yeah.
this kind of solves all that because
So
it is specially printed.
Yeah, especially now you could possibly, if you had one of the types of decks at home, you could do the original routine. When you don't have to have custom cards. The cards that it used are readily available on the market. But what we did was update it to use the original routine. You would write the predictions on actual playing cards, like 10 of spades, or it would be totally random what you wrote it on. This one, you're always going to be writing it on the Joker. You're not. What's also interesting is you're never ruining any cards in this. It kind of feels like you might be disposing of a Joker every time you do this.
Yeah.
That's not the case. Now, there are ways to do this where that can enhance it, where you do get rid of the Joker every time. It's not really worth talking about. It's something I talk about on the DVD to take it to the next level. In fact, I believe on my first Penguin lecture, I kind of do a deep dive on this as well, this idea of making it even more perfect. But it's been a great trick. I've loved performing this trick
on
over the years.
the download, don't you also talk about how to do it not just close up, but also in stand up places?
Yeah.
So there's a lot of versatility with this.
Yeah.
Whereas somebody might look at this trick and be like, hey, this is really only a close-up trick, and I'm looking for a stage thing.
This
a lot of
trick, the
versatility.
way that the method works, allows it for a great wine glass reveal, right? So you can do some platform stuff where you can have your prediction in the glass and the spectator's card in the glass as well, and you can turn it around. So it lends itself to playing this way as well.
Oh, that's great.
And also you can do multiple predictions. You can do more than one. The original routine was 2 predictions, but I narrowed it down to 1. Actually, I had to ask Max. I was always curious why he did 2. I had no rationale for 2. You can totally do 2, but why do 2? Because unless you had a kicker ending, it felt like you should just do 1.
Yeah.
I remember asking Max that, and Max, why did Paul Curry do 2 revelations on touch as opposed to 1 or 3?
Yeah.
And I think he just said, why not? I think.
Seeing a couple of things here in the Facebook chat from Michael Vandergriff, actually. He says nicely performed.
Oh, thank you.
But also points out that the deck cannot be examinable.
No.
It's not examinable, totally can't be examined. And that's correct. But you also, I think when you watch the download, you also see Nick perform it in a number of scenarios where he pretty easily gets out of the idea of it being examined. I mean,
You could switch it real easy too, because you get the whole moment at the end where you have both predictions on the table.
Yeah.
Super easy. Just get the deck out of play, swap it out for another one.
Yeah, this is definitely something that can't be examined, but it's also not much of an issue.
Yeah, I lend it to, I haven't worked restaurants or like any walk around type stuff a lot in a while. But I know when I did, I always loved to just kind of have that one pocket for the one trick deck that I was going to use that one night. It would be in the rotation, so maybe one night I'd take touch out, and then the next night it would be a position impossible. Trick decks or in a flash. I always loved doing that trick back in the day. But you have to commit a pocket to the one deck.
Let's move on to number 7 this week is Simpatico Plus by David Regal. This is a really, really interesting, it's a way to...
I don't want to touch that card. I'm not going to touch the card. And you could have stopped, you could have stopped on one of those. You didn't. You could have said, these are good cards. You could have stopped on one of these. You didn't. You didn't stop any of these, or 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 these. You stopped on one card. I haven't touched that card. You dealt with your own hands. Put your finger on that card so no one can touch it for the first time.
First time.
What's the one card you're thinking of?
You got I picked.
Yep.
9 of diamonds.
Not that I said I wouldn't touch it. I haven't touched it. I'm not going to touch it. All the cards are face up. He said 9 of diamonds. Turn it over. You deserve to be the... I don't want to touch that card. I'm not going to touch the card. And you could have stopped, you could have stopped on one of those. You didn't. You could have said, these are good cards. You could have stopped on one of these. You didn't. You didn't stop any of these, or 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 these. You stopped on one card. I haven't touched that card. You dealt with your own hands. Put your finger on that card so no one can touch it for the first time.
First time.
What's the one card you're thinking of?
You got I picked.
Yep.
9 of diamonds.
Not that I said I wouldn't touch it. I haven't touched it. I'm not going to touch it. All the cards are face up. He said 9 of diamonds. Turn it over. We have known each other long. I don't want to touch that card. I'm not going to touch the card. And you could have stopped. You could have stopped on one of those. You didn't. You could have said, these are good cards. You could have stopped on one of these. You can put it to the test. You didn't stop any of these, or 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 these. You stopped on one card. I haven't touched that card. You dealt with your own hands. Put your finger on that card so no one can touch it for the first time.
Look at the card and look at my
What's the one card you're thinking of?
Look at the card. You got I picked. Look at my eye. 9 of diamonds. Look at my card.
I said I wouldn't touch it. I haven't touched it. I'm not going to touch it. All the cards are face up. He said 9 of diamonds. Turn it over.
Different with you.
You deserve to be the... I don't want to touch that card. I can't guarantee it. And you could have stopped. You could have stopped on one of those. You didn't. You could have said, these are good cards. See if you could have a better connection. In fact, I don't want to do anything at all. You stopped any of these, or 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 these. You stopped on one card. I haven't touched that card. You dealt with your own hand. Put your finger on that card so no one can touch it for the first time.
You want to switch to the one next to it?
What's the one card you're thinking of? Don't look. You can't look.
Okay, well,
Can I look?
Not that I said I wouldn't touch it. I haven't touched it. I'm not going to touch it. All the cards are face up. He said 9 of diamonds. Turn it over. She's helpful. Put it back. I don't want to touch that card. I'm not going to hit the card. And you could have stopped. Ooh, you could have stopped on one of those. You didn't. You could have said, oh, these are good cards. Now you stopped on one of these. You didn't. You didn't stop on any of these, or 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 these. You stopped on one card.
What's the card?
I haven't touched that card.
You have no idea
You
what that
dealt
card is
with
in all
your
these
own
cards.
hands. Put your finger on that card. So no one can touch it for the first time.
You have to do the rest of
What's the
whatever
one
happens.
card? Maybe nothing will happen.
You got a bit.
Maybe something will
Nine
happen.
of diamonds.
But you will do
the rest.
I said I wouldn't touch
I made
it.
it so you can see every
I haven't
card.
touched it.
Every card.
I'm not going to touch it. All the cards are face up.
How many cards
He said
are in a
9 of
deck?
diamonds.
52. Name a
Turn it
number
over.
from 1 to 52.
You deserve to be. I don't want to touch that
17.
card. I'm not going to hit the card. And you could have stopped. Ooh, you could have stopped on one of those. You didn't. You could have. Oh, these are good cards. You could have stopped on one of these. You didn't. You stopped on any of these, or 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 these. You stopped on one card. I haven't touched that card. You dealt with your own hands. Put your finger on that card, so no one can touch it for the first time.
First time.
So what Eric was showing you before is what it actually comes with. You're going to get a couple gimmicked decks of cards that will allow you to do the thing. It does use a gimmick. It does look like it has to be some sort of switch, but it's not. The gimmick cards take care of everything for you in that trick. We'll wait for Eric to come back to talk a little bit more about it, but what I did want to point out is that we are there. This is on sale in the Cool Box, so if you head on over to Penguin Magic and you punch in the promo code CoolBoxLive, which I forgot to put on this little graphic down here, you will be able to save 25% off of Simpatico Plus by David Regal. Also, somebody else mentioned the previous trick, Touch, which is there is the packaging for Touch. That is also same deal, 25% off Touch if you use the promo code CoolBoxLive on penguinmagic.com. So yes, that was the performance.
Yeah, it's a really, really great performance. I see you guys there in the chat. We've got a couple of sound issues. Hopefully we're getting those taken care of right now. There's some network connectivity issues going on in our area. I was checking into that. We're trying to get those solved. A little bit of it is out of our hand right now. But Simpatico, really, really good. It's interesting. So there's no switch, which is really interesting.
Yeah, as I was just saying, there's no switch here. Just the cards.
Yeah, it looks so there's a special something going on with the deck that is pretty interesting, but you're not. It feels like you would be getting cards that are changing or some sort of device to switch, but it's not. It's something that's interesting. So this is another one of those where an entire deck it is a trick deck. So you're devoting an entire trick to one deck, but you've got multiple different performance options that David Regal teaches you through. So even if you're using this one trick deck, you can, as you go do walk around, you can choose to do one performance style or the other.
I mean, Regal comes up with everything all over the spectrum, right? But I find his stuff I always like to put in kind of parlor sets almost. Of course, you could do walk around with almost any of his tricks. That's not what I'm saying. But I find because of his scripting and the way that he constructs routines, they lend themselves really well to something that you might see performed in the close-up room at the Magic Castle.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
So, and this reminds me very much of that.
This is, and also he goes into not only the original he talks a little bit about the original version of the trick that he was doing, and then he talks about how a lot of people liked it, he didn't realize that, and then the couple of changes that he made to the original version that made it play just so much stronger.
Right.
And so David is not just taking you through how the trick works, but why he's getting the reactions that you are clearly seeing in this particular thing. It's really interesting.
And the price that you're getting on this one, I mean, the list price is $30 on this.
Yeah.
But with the CoolBox Live promo code, you're almost saving 50% off this one. You're gonna get to $18.
Just wanted to reiterate, guys, I know Nick talked about it earlier, but if you enter, for all the tricks we're talking about right now, enter CoolBox Live at checkout, and you're going to be getting that 25% discount on the tricks, and it applies to all of the tricks at the CoolBox Live that we're talking about tonight. Some really interesting stuff, but I think we should probably move on to number 8 this week, and this is one that I know we're both very excited about.
Yeah, because we're talking about that code, and it also applies to this.
Yeah,
which,
this might be the deal of the deal
I guess
of the
it's
week.
the deal of the week.
This is crazy.
Yeah, this is Richard Osselin's 13 Steps to Mentalism, and what this is You can just roll the clip of Richard here, Nick. What this is Richard put together, he came to Penguin and he put together what he felt were the 13 steps of mentalism. As you're aware, the 13 steps of mentalism are Corinda. It's a book that came out, within the last 100 years here, but kind of illustrated what the 13 rules or steps or ideas within mentalism were.
Yeah, there's 13 sort of like big areas.
Yes,
and
that's what Richard did here, except that he has redefined the steps in his own way. Now, what you're going to get, now this was originally a, what he did was we put this into, you could download it by step. Each step was $20. So you could get step, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13.
What's in step 1?
Step 1 is kind of just his approach to mentalism. And here's a fun fact, Erik. Step 1 is completely free.
Well, that's way too much of a discount for this show.
Right, you can just go on Penguin Magic right now and get step 1, Richard Oslin's
his philosophy,
step to mentalism.
Yeah, this is his philosophy of performing mentalism. Now, I believe
For
that
free.
in that step, there's no tricks.
There's no tricks.
It's really just theory. But again,
there is plenty, if you want to get a sense of what what the whole thing's about, and if you're not familiar with Richard, which would be hard to imagine if you're watching this show, but yeah, check it out. If not, if you're interested, we have the entire set now here. Now this is all 13 steps.
That's really wild.
Now, like I mentioned, all the steps were $20 a piece, which would come out to $260.
Yeah. The DVDs are $240.
The DVDs are $240. This is a 4 DVD set. We can just go to the overhead here at some point, Nick, and we'll take a look at what's on the inside here. But today, Erik,
and that Cool Box Live, that really drops that price down.
Yeah, look at this deal right here. So it's
$180 for the 4-disc set.
Yeah, so if you had ever had interest in this, this is the time to spring for it. You're going to get the 4-disc DVDs. Obviously, DVDs have kind of fallen away. This might be the last DVD set that I remember us producing, but it is a beautiful box that you can store them all in. It tells you what step is on each disc, right? And these are all held nicely here.
So let's talk about the steps a little bit. So
let's go through all the steps.
Step 2 is billets, which I think is really interesting because billet work always scared me a little bit. Now I had an opportunity to film some billet work with Richard. It's really interesting watching him do billet work because when you learn from him doing billets and then you see him performing for real people, it makes you want to do billet work. It takes a lot of the fear out of it because I read about billet stuff in Corinda and in
billet
Animan
stuff is like. Maybe you can relate to this. Like when I was first aware of like, oh, okay, I have somebody write down something that they're thinking of. Yeah. And then I fold it up and maybe I tear it or whatever, and then I tell them right back what they were thinking under some presentation. I was like, that seems a little too obvious to me. Yeah. Right? Like they just wrote it down. They must think that it's just completely wrong. And as Richard says, you could just have your entire career be billets.
I mean,
and
to be frank,
he's not wrong.
I saw Alexander McAleer perform billet work in the Champions of Magic tour, and it's like crazy because he's playing 2,000-3,000 seat theaters, and all he's doing is billet work, and it's so good.
Step 2 in there, you're going to learn everything there is to know: switching, tearing, reading, peeking, opening, all that Acidus Novus stuff that Richard's into. All of that is in there. It might be one of the more comprehensive things ever done on billet work.
What's step 3 though?
Step 3 is the Swami Gimmick. And
this is like a nail writer or a thumb writer.
Yes, and this, again, I think this will come up every time with almost every step. The most comprehensive look at anything. So, you want to learn how to use one of these.
It's one of those things that there's just not a ton of work.
Yeah, here and there, but like with this, you know where it is. Yeah. Get this if you want to learn it. This is the type of thing. Again, once you realize what he does with it, you're like, man, why am I messing around with anything else? It just seems like everything else seems like a waste of time once you realize how powerful
Step 4, I think, is really interesting because it is where he starts to cover playing cards.
Yeah, Step 4.
Does he teach his breakthrough card system on
this?
Does.
He does, man. And Richard will tell you that this is, he's taught it in different places over the years. Yeah. Probably the best place to learn it might be through one of his booklets, but on video, this is the premier place to learn his breakthrough card system. Also, he teaches on here a trick called hands off, which in his Penguin Live lecture, maybe it was, I don't think it was 2, it might have been his act or something, I can't remember which one. You'd see it listed in the ad copy, but he performed a performance only of it. And it fooled the crap out of everybody. Nobody knew how it worked. So he teaches that on here.
Let's throw that clip up again, just because there's some interesting stuff that's coming up that we're going to be talking about here soon.
Yeah, sure.
And like not just the cards. The card stuff is really good because it's basically how to do mentalism with cards, where
Yeah, no, and all the best mentalists use cards. You know, but he believes it to be part of his 13 steps. Step 5, he dives into book tests. And you're going to learn the routine that he's been using forever, which also plays huge on stage.
Yeah.
Step 6 is blindfolds.
Blindfolds is the one that's interesting because I don't think that was originally covered in the
Might not have been.
13 Steps of Mentalism, which Lingus Lee, I see you here in the chat asking, how do you find the original book 13 Steps? If you just jump into Penguin's search bar and search the 13 Steps of Mentalism, that book will come up.
Yeah, I assume it's in there. If it's not,
it's definitely been reprinted.
Just search on Google, you'll find it somewhere too.
Yeah, just search the 13 Steps for Mentalism and it will come up. But
Great book.
The
great
blindfolds
book.
is what is so exciting because, man, Richard has done some killer stuff with blindfolds.
Yeah, and originally with his steel blindfold there as well. Step 8 is his stage routines, where you're going to learn his magazine test and his clock routine. Now, those have also been on probably Richard Osselin Part 2, his lecture, but you're going to get a live performance. All this stuff is filmed live, by the way. You're going to get a live show.
Right here. It's incredible.
Step 9, his close-up and impromptu routines. These are things that... there's a drawing duplication, some stuff he does with billets, even a calendar trick that you can use a cell phone with, which was awesome. Number 10 is his cold reading, approach to cold reading, using a psychometry routine.
And again, like, cold reading is one of those things that, like, you're just like, it just seems too obvious, and how do you get away with this? And when you get to see a performance of somebody doing a cold read and then going back and breaking down and explaining how it works, like, it gives you a lot more confidence with it.
And Richard's stuff's so commercial, right? You can envision yourself performing Richard's routines. You know, there's some other guys out there that have a little bit more, I hate to use the word originality or whatever, but like Richard's one of a kind here, but Richard's material is approachable to a lot of people, which is why a lot of people have, looked at Richard as a teacher and somebody to be inspired by for so long.
The other one that follows that up in step 11 is the Q&A routines, because Q&A is one of those things that, like, we recently had Christopher Carter in here, and Christopher Carter will go ahead and tell you that being able to do a Q&A routine is basically all you need, and you could do an hour-long show with a Q&A routine.
Yeah, you wield real power, actual power on stage with a Q&A routine. All the best mentalists have done it over the years, and Richard will show you his ways of performing it. Make it really easy, actually. Step 12 is hypnotism.
Which actually we can see here a clip of him doing the hypnotism on there.
It was a crazy show. It was the first time we had anybody do hypnosis at the show.
It's interesting when you find out like more about how that hypnotism works and like how stage hypnosis really is.
Side note, if you have any interest in hypnosis, Rob Temple has a great Penguin Live lecture on a full hypnosis show.
And then also there's step 13, which is muscle
reading. Yeah. And
again, that's like cold reading. It seems like it's too obvious and people would know how it works.
Muscle reading is real magic.
Yeah, when you watch someone do muscle reading,
because there's no method. It's weird. Richard will tell you how it works and how he does it, but it just kind of works, which is a total mind job when you want. There's no method to understand because it just works.
I see Frank Sauce here in the chat on Facebook saying goodbye, $180.
Yeah.
So it sounds like at least someone's going to be getting some of the savings tonight, which is really great.
No, like I think I mentioned this before about this. I wish this was just the thing that was given to me when I first got into magic. Like if it was the only thing I could own, if I could only own one thing and go back in time, it might as well just be this.
Lee's also asking us in the chat he was saying, how do we find the 13 Steps of Mentalism, good or bad? Not how do you find the book.
It's fantastic.
It's a great,
it's there's all the tricks in there you can still do. I mean, it's one of the best books you can get.
Yeah, I think the only thing about it that is disappointing is that you don't learn as much good stuff about blindfolds, which is why Richard chose to update the blindfolds in this particular filming of it, because The original blindfolds are not bad. It's just that there are significantly better ways to do blindfolds now.
I mean, I'm not even sure what he's taken out or added, or I forget at this point. The only thing about the original Corinda book is that it's a lot of text. The illustrations are whatever. It's an old book.
Yeah.
It's an old book, but I mean, there's gold in that book. Every mentalist would tell you to read it, and I'll tell you to read it as well. But right now, big deal on this. You're going to save, what is that, $60?
Yeah.
$60 off this. Coolbox Live promo code on checkout, and you'll get 25%
I think
off
we could talk about this DVD set all night, but it's time to move on. We're going to go to number 9 right now. This is really exciting because this man, so this is a new deck of cards that's coming out from Penguin Magic. I am super excited to share the demo with you because we have clips. We don't often roll like the straight up demos in this, but this one is something the team has been working on for a couple of weeks, and we're really proud of the way this came out. And this is the Screams at Midnight deck. Please enjoy this video.
Screams at midnight. Shuffle into a new dimension of horror with this terrifying deck of cards. From the twisted minds of Phil Smith and Kevin Rayleck, these 52 playing cards are haunted by horrific creatures. Monsters so scary, you will want to cover your eyes to witness them in 3D. If you survive the third dimension, you'll learn the secret ritual of the Occlusion, a demonic marking system that will allow you to read the minds of your helpless victims. Printed in blood and cursed for unparalleled handling, this deck has been summoned from Hades with undead jokers and a hair-raising ace of spades. Beware. Once you unleash these cards from the box, you won't be able to stop the screams at midnight.
It's a crazy demo. We had a lot of fun making that one here in the studio. But this is a crazy deck of cards that just came out this week, and we were excited to be able to show it to you guys. So let's just hit the overhead, and we'll take a close look at the deck. And then we have something very special planned for everybody here. So first of all, it comes with this crazy looking box, right? Screams at Midnight and some fun artwork on the back. It's kind of got like a vintage horror vibe to it. It also comes with these 3D glasses. And if you put the glasses on, you'll actually see, well, this is interesting. That's not going to work. But some of the artwork on the face and the back, everything about the box is in 3D. We'll take a look at the inside. It's got a little fun little put your 3D glasses on logo there. The back design is also in 3D as well. And we'll spread them out so you guys can see. That's what the deck of cards looks like. The faces are pretty normal. You're going to get some custom jokers with a little Frankenstein guy. The colors are a little different on the face cards. And then the ace of spades. Let's see if we can find that. It's probably all the way at the top. Of course it is. Get this crazy looking monster there. But one of the craziest parts about this deck is the marking system. Yes, these cards are marked. And no, you do not need the 3D glasses to read them. I'm going to put them on the table. Popa, can you get in even closer here? Because the marking on these cards are unlike anything else I've ever seen before. And let's get this one's pretty good. We're going to take a look at this one right here. So, I'm not looking at the chat right now, but by just looking at this, maybe do yourself a favor, really scan this card over and see where the markings are. I'll give you a hint. They are up in the corners. There's here and 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 here. This is the 9 of clubs. And the way that I can tell that, honestly, I'll do my best to explain this here, but right above where the glasses are, basically, imagine it said 9 of clubs, but the glasses were cutting off the bottom half of it, right? Because that's exactly what's going on there. All right, so you're just seeing the top half of the words 9 of clubs. Let me move that down so you guys can get it, right? So that actually says 9 of clubs right there. Maybe I'll do another card. And this one right here says, and I know it's up in the top corner, the Jack of Spades, right? So you just get used to seeing half of it, and you'll have the card, all right? But I have a better idea. Joining us live is one of the creators of the Screams at Midnight deck, and I think Erik has him on the line. So let's throw it over to those guys.
Hey, Kevin, how's it going? Oh no, tell you what, Kevin, looks like you may not be able to see me right now. There we go. Hey, how's it going, Kevin? Can you hear me? Hey there, Kevin. How's it going? You're on.
How's it going? Good to see you guys.
Good to see you too, man. Thanks for joining us virtually to be on the show. Kevin, can you tell us a little bit about where this deck came from and how the marking system came into play?
Sure. So the deck itself, the idea came because, and this event just passed over the last few days, I was slated to be a speaker on the subject of marked cards for the 52 Plus Joker convention. 52 Plus Joker is the world's largest card collector convention. I've been going there on behalf of Penguin for the last few years, and one of the events every year is a deck debut night where different designers and creators debut brand new decks of cards for the first time ever. And so I was like, okay, the convention takes place in October. I'm there talking about marked cards. I was like, it would be really fun to do a marked Halloween deck. And as we know, Phil Smith, who's done the DMC Elites, and he worked with us on the Delaney Centennial, several other projects. He's just, you know, kind of the master of marked cards these days.
Oh yeah, they're so good.
Yeah, and so I went to Phil and I said, hey, I want to do a marked Halloween deck, you know, are you available? Do you want to work on this? And he was totally game. And he said, let's try something kind of weird. He's like, let me show you something. He's like, and then let's go from there. And so he showed me this occlusion marking system, and I had seen that optical illusion principle before.
Yeah.
It's been featured even, I think, in one of the early episodes of Brain Games, if everyone remembers that show.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah, and it's just that weird thing where he sent me a mock-up of more of just like a standard sort of back design that had that in place, and he was like, can you read this? And I was like, oh yeah, you know, it says the 8 of spades or whatever it was. And I was like, that's really innovative, and I love doing, you know, marking systems that nobody has done before. So I was like, yeah, let's build the deck around that. And so then we started talking more about themes and everything. And we came on that idea of doing the old classic monster movies, like the campy drive-in movies and stuff.
Yeah,
and,
it's really interesting how that occlusion marking system like plays really well with the artwork. And so like when you sort of like pick them out and show them to someone, it has this like feel of like an old school just like a fun deck of cards that you would like get like almost as like in a gift bag or something like that from like or you'd find it in a gift shop. So it almost like seems more fair because it doesn't seem like, oh, this is like a nice magician's deck. It seems like you would get it like on your way out of a haunted house, like on their gift shop. With the artwork is really fun and really disarming, but it's a nice quality deck, and that marking system is, it's a strange experience to talk about the first time you read those marks, because when we first looked at them, it was like, what? How is that? And then the moment it all came into view, it was like seeing a magic eye for the first time, but not nearly as hard.
It's just one of those moments to click, and exactly, like, I feel like this system, it's not the absolute easiest deck in the world to read. Like, I do think our Marked Maidens are a little easier to read. They have an edge.
Oh, yeah.
But this one's by no means difficult to read. We're talking minutes of practice rather than hours, for sure. And distance is really good on them, too. I can read them from beyond arm's length. So it's not like a 20-foot read or anything.
Yeah.
But I think anyone, because I have far from perfect vision, anyone should be able to read them from at least a good 3-4 feet, something like
yeah,
that.
I feel like you and I are definitely the ones to talk about like how you can read them from a little bit of a distance, because we both have such bad eyes, but you can still get a good read on them. It takes a little bit more practice, like you said, but man, once you see it, you can never unsee it. You totally get it.
Exactly.
But I'm not nearly as worried about lay people catching on to it.
No, and that's a big thing that I hear from a lot of people, whether they're new to working with marked cards, and regardless of which deck it is, whether it's the Screams or Mark Maidens or DMC Elites or whichever, people are worried about their audience seeing the marks. And the biggest thing I can tell people is that it's an attitude thing. If you treat the cards casually and like they're not marked, then, and I know I'm preaching to the choir because Eric, you use marked cards for everything. But I equate it to thumb tip guilt. So just like the exercise of how it's really good practice to just go out in your daily life wearing a thumb tip and realize just how much you can get away with that people don't see. Like with this Screams deck, you've got 4 different creatures on there, the eyeball, the 3D, all this stuff. Like everyone's attention is all in this craziness here. Nobody's looking at what appears to just be this fancy border work. My wife knows a lot about marked cards. She's seen a lot of decks and that sort of thing. And so when I showed her the initial back design, I did it unprompted. I was just like, here, look at these. What do you think? And she was looking at them for a good long time. And then she's like, okay, like, can I stop looking at them now? And I was like, do you see anything else? And so finally I had to tell her, I was like, they're marked. Like, it didn't come to her until after I told her to start looking for marks.
I also wanted to thank you guys for including legit old school 3D glasses, because I know
legit anaglyph.
Yeah, as soon as we opened these decks of cards and we got these anaglyph 3D glasses fell out of the envelope, I was immediately transported to being a kid again and reading a comic book and trying to see, like Spider-Man in spectacular 3D. And it's been so much fun to look at these, like wearing these. Like, I know you're not going to use these, or maybe you are going to use the 3D glasses in some sort of a routine sometime, but this was really fun. Like, this is a deck that's going to like stay on my shelf and like on display somewhere in my house because of how much fun the old school red and blue anaglyph 3D glasses are.
Sure, and it is such a hook. It's a great way to segue into Magic because I have visitors to my house here and there, and when they find out that I collect cards or that I'm a magician or whatever, it can be fun to pull out kind of select pieces from your collection and be like, oh, here's an old 50-year-old tally-ho deck or something like that. But generally, unless something is really mind-blowingly fancy with a bunch of foil or whatnot, people want to see a few decks and then they're over it. But with these, exactly, it makes the experience interactive. So you can hand someone the deck and hand them the glasses, and they're like, "Oh, this is so much fun! This is great."
Oh, yeah. And then
it just opens up so many presentational things for Magic as well. Not just with the design itself, but with the jokers that we have. We have the Frankenstein and the vampire jokers, and then we threw in that reveal joker as well that reveals the 2 of clubs.
I love the reveal joker, and I also like the care that was taken so that the Frankenstein joker and the vampire joker are also they're in the same pose, so that color change makes sense depending on how you do it. It's a really interesting, really fun. It's just the deck is a lot of fun. I'm not even someone who usually likes the theme, the holiday themed decks, and I really, really like this one.
Awesome. And that is the other nice thing, decks that just blatantly say Halloween on them, which we've done in the past, and I love those. But this one, people watch horror movies all year round. So even though it's timely right now with Halloween, you could perform with these in March and nobody's going to be like, wait a second, what's with these Halloween cards?
Yeah, it's definitely well thought out. Well, we only got just a couple of seconds left, Kevin. Is there anything else you wanted to tell people who are watching the stream live on Facebook or on YouTube?
No, just thank you all for the support. The feedback's been really great. So, get the decks in hand, give them an afternoon of practice and go out and blow some minds. I appreciate you guys having me on.
Thanks so much for joining us. Let's throw it back over to Nick Locapo on the blue wall.
Yeah, I'm just over here in my 3D classes. So there's Kevin and Eric. Thanks, Kevin, for coming on and hanging out. One of the questions I saw was that, so you need the 3D glass. What do the spectators wear the 3D glass? They're just here for fun, right? That's all. It's just, it was awesome that they're included. They look amazing on the back and on the box and everything. You don't need to wear the 3D glasses when you use the deck. I mean, it's highly recommended that you do, but you definitely don't have to.
I think it is safe to say that it is highly recommended that you wear these 3D glasses at all times.
At all times,
All
yeah. I'm
times.
pretty sure we look cooler at this point.
I think we do. Do we do the rest of the stream?
I don't know. I might probably get
So,
looking like.
One thing I wanted to say, go a little bit behind the scenes about was this. So, like, thanks so much to Kevin and et al. for giving us such a fun thing to shoot, like, demo-wise.
Yeah.
Because we really did get to have a lot of fun with this. I don't know if you guys picked up on this, but, like, we did some practical effects in that. So, like, we were like, that was real smoke that we're doing.
Yeah.
We built a small Pepper's ghost illusion like they have at Disney World to, like, have some, like, cool ghosts and like phantasms flying around.
Fun demo to make.
It was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And that voice, man.
That voice, shout out to my guy, Warm Voice in the UK for that Vincent Price impression over there. So, yeah, right on. Anyway.
Super good.
Moving on?
Let's move on to...
Moving on. Whew. Oh, back to reality
That
here.
definitely changes.
Oh, my God. All right. Moving on to the next deal. The next deal that we have here is Lonnie Chevry Live. And this is one of my favorite lectures ever filmed here at Penguin. Lonnie is a magician from Austin, Texas, who, you know, if I had to... First of all, this lecture is absolutely loaded with magic. It is filled to the brim with magic tricks. Mostly all stuff that you could see yourself doing, walk around, or in a close-up show environment. All of Lonnie's stuff is completely polished, thought through, scripted.
So good.
Motion, everything, down to the moves, why he's holding something here. I mean, he's at that level of performance. And the material that you're going to learn in here is like unlimited. Let me just go through some of the stuff that's in here.
I think it's really important to understand how good
this
Lonnie's stuff is.
Loaded.
And how loaded this is.
Loaded with magic.
Both of the lectures this week are just like insanely good.
So good.
Yeah.
First of all, look at this Vanishing Hank right here. This is going into his fist. There's no thumb tip here. Tell me where this goes, Eric.
I have no idea where that handkerchief is.
I mean, watch this bill switch here. I mean, it's just invisible. His work on bill switching, it's phenomenal. You're going to learn Vanishing Handkerchief, printing a dollar bill. He covers...
This right here, the
the
animal trap.
the animal
where
trap.
do you learn that outside of a Lonnie Chevry lecture?
Lonnie was so sweet. He actually, I performed this routine for quite a while. He actually sent me an animal trap in the mail when I asked him about it. I was like, hey, I'm thinking about doing this, and next thing you know, there's a 3-pound animal trap coming my way from Texas. So thank you, Lonnie. He goes over his download Waxed. I mean, it's a download here on Penguin Magic where he goes in depth on it. Mm-hmm. But Waxed is covered. A signed bill to Jar of Hair.
Oh man, what a horrifyingly wonderful trick.
Yeah, right. The animal trap, coins through funnel, which is a great little trick. Oh, yeah. Where he's got 4 coins in a funnel, and they go one by one down the funnel into his hand. They obviously can't go through the funnel, but they do.
That is interesting. Coin.
It's something I could see you doing.
Funnel coin is like a really interesting plot because it's been around forever. It's classic, and you just don't see people do it.
He does it. He does it really well too. His download Clear Through, which is the finger through bill. He does a penny bend, a coin and bottle, a sponge ball routine, a chop cup routine, a weighing the cards routine. Coins across, card stab. There's like an anniversary waltz style thing. Some work on the Hoffenzer card, which you can see right there.
I think that's super interesting, the Hoffenzer card, because you don't see that.
You don't see it. And so he's got a full routine that is like, it's based on Houdini and the Metamorphosis. Mm-hmm. So great little routine. I did grab a couple clips of some tricks that I really like. One is by a friend, and I forgot to write down this guy's name. I wanted to say his name on stream. Lonnie, I apologize. But there's a trick called a maxi twist that Lonnie performs on here, which is really great, and we can watch a full performance of that.
This is all going to happen right here on the table. This is a trick using 4 cards. I'm using these 4 cards here, and these cards are easy to remember. The first one is the Ace of Clubs. The second one is the Ace of Clubs. The third one's the Ace of Clubs. And the fourth one is the They're all Ace of Clubs. So I'm going to take 2 of the Ace of Clubs and turn them face down. And Jacob, I'll get you to choose one of the ace of clubs, either this one or this one. Just point to it. This one. Okay, we'll turn your face up. So that leaves the other ace of clubs, the one that you didn't choose, face down. So clearly one ace of clubs face down. But without moving anything, without making any sort of sleight of hand move, if I count the cards again, now 2 of the ace of clubs are face down. Again, without moving anything, now 3 of the ace of clubs are, this is the only ace of clubs still face up. Now I told you I'm only using 4 cards, and it's true, and I numbered them. You see ace, that's 1, 2, that's 2, 3, that's 3, and 4, that's 4.
Where did that ace go?
So it's a real pretty trick.
I'm not making this. This isn't like me reacting for like, like seriously, where did that ace go?
Real pretty trick uses only 4 cards. Only 4 cards there.
Are you like?
I'm not messing with you. That's all it uses. And
is there a gimmick?
There might be a gimmick involved. I don't want to say exactly, but it's something that you could have, you know.
It's too good.
But super clean, super everything's tight and concise and loaded, absolutely loaded with tricks.
The really neat thing about this is that Lonnie Chevry, you and I were talking about this earlier off stream, is that Lonnie is one of those guys who created stuff that everyone uses, but no one's really sure where it came from, and the answer is almost always Lonnie Chevry.
Yeah, even the coin and bottle on here, Lonnie performed it, and then Dan at the end, I mean, he knew it was Lonnie's, but he's like, Lonnie, I got to tell you, I used that in my walk-around performances for a decade. Yeah. A decade. No, not a lot of people knew that you're the guy that figured that part out. Yeah. But like coming from Harlan, that's a pretty big testament, right?
It's knockout stuff.
But waxed is like a standard for a lot of people.
Oh yeah. I mean, man, back when I was doing a lot more walk around, like in my early restaurant days, I did waxed because he taught that in some lectures.
If you're a restaurant worker, I mean, this thing you're going to get material from this. There's no way around it. And at a lower price for the Cool Box Live promo, you're going to get it for just almost $10 off. So
yeah, and actually, so in just a moment, we're going to share another clip of Lonnie performing. And I think what you should do right now is, if you're watching this, other magicians should see some of this work from Lonnie Chevry. So be sure to share the video that you're watching right now. Just share a link. If you're watching on YouTube, share a link on your Twitter or on your Facebook. If you're watching on Facebook, start a watch party right now. Let's get some other magicians like watching this, because there's a clip coming up that is like really good.
Yeah, I wanted to pull a clip that just something a little bit different and that's fooling as well. So this is a trick that, well, there's a good joke here. Maybe I won't step on it on Lonnie here, but it takes advantage of things that you hear spectators say a lot. So Popa, if you could maybe load up and play I think it might be called the name trick.
Yep, I think it is, yeah.
You know what? I love doing close-up magic. You get so close to the people. You get to talk to them. They tell you stories. You get to introduce yourself. You make a lot of friends. And people oftentimes will tell me about a magician that they saw. Maybe when they were a child, a magician came to their school. Maybe they saw someone at their company party. Maybe they saw someone in Las Vegas on television. You know what? They can always tell me the tricks that they did, but when I ask who the magician was, they never remember the magician's name. I don't want that to happen to me tonight. So, I had a card printed up with my name on it. That's right. As a matter of fact, I have a little board here, and I'm going to put this card right here on the board, just like this, because I want everyone to remember that it was Lonnie Chevry that showed you this trick. All right. It's a card trick, and I'm going to use these cards right here. And Jacob, if you don't mind, I want you to grab one of those cards out for us. Okay. It's okay if I see it. You don't have to hide anything from me. And what'd you get? The king. You know what? I'm going to have you write your name on it. So it's a little hard sometimes to see it on a king or a queen. Would you grab another card out of there? And
yeah.
That's a good one. Here we go. Write your name really big on that 8 of clubs. I'll take this one. Okay. I'll take the pen. Show everybody what you did. Perfect. I'll take your card. I'm going to put it on top, cut the cards like this. Now let's go over what just happened here. Lonnie Chevry asked you to come up here and help him out.
Right.
Lonnie Chevry asked you to choose a card. Right. Lonnie Chevry put your card somewhere in the middle of the deck. Now, Jacob, of all the magicians here tonight, which one do you think is going to find your card right now?
Dalton Wayne. Lonnie Chevry.
That's right. That's right.
Yeehaw!
Yeehaw is right. You got that right. I'll find it by cutting the cards 3 times. That's 1, that's 2, that's 3, and right here, your card with your...
Dalton.
Hey, you remember that time, what's his name, the magician couldn't find your card? No, I'm not going to do it that way. I'm going to find your card. I'm going to find your card, or my name is not Lonnie Chevry. I'm going to find your card just like this. It looks just like that, and there it is. Now, Jacob, I'm going to remember you forever because I have a card with your name on it. And all I'm going to ask from you is that you remember me.
Oh.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Another round of applause for Jacob. Yeehaw! Yeehaw is right.
Yeehaw indeed. Isn't that fun?
That is. The displays on that are wild.
Awesome, awesome, awesome.
So good. Actually, so I see here in the Facebook chat, John Castial says Lonnie's lecture is one of the best, filled with real-world workers, worth every penny, and absolutely
You can
true.
get it for less pennies.
Get it for less pennies. Coolbox Live. Enter that promo code at discount. That is good until this Friday at midnight, when we are going to change it out with a whole bunch of new products.
Yeah, for next week.
Yeah, but we're not done yet.
No, we're not done yet. You know, it's funny. He tells a story about somebody that he performed that trick at the Magic Castle.
Yeah.
And he had one of those magicians that came back over and over and over again to try to figure out how he got the card.
Yeah.
Thumbtacked to the thing, and well, you have to get the lecture to find out if you're watching out there.
It's so good because you look at that, you go, there's no way that's thumbtacked, and then when it spins, you're just like, what happened?
Yeah. So Lonnie, if you're out there, we want you to come back. I know times are crazy. I had heard that there was a rumor about Lonnie Chevry Act at some point. Ooh. I don't know whatever happened to that. Maybe Tim was talking about. I don't know. But Lonnie, we need Lonnie back.
Love to see that.
Yeah.
Well, let's move on to number 11 this week. Also on discount. This is a fantastic trick from Rick Lax. This is Return Flight. This is a really cool card trick. Essentially, the deck is divided into 2 different halves. The one half is cased in the box, and the box is put on the other side of the table. The other cards are spread. The audience gets to name a card, and then that card vanishes from that half of the pack and then reappears on the other side of the table. And you know what? You're just going to have to watch a performance to see exactly how cool this trick is. So, Mr. Popa, could you please roll a performance of Return Flight from Rick Lax?
Now is the point in the night where I'm going to make one playing card jump from half the deck to the other half. All right, Jim, which half of the deck do you want to use?
I'm left-handed, so this deck.
This half. All right, so we're going to use this half of the deck.
Okay.
And now, JR, you're going to pick one card out to put in that half of the deck. So you can just name a card from this half, and we'll put it in the other one. You can just name one.
Ace of clubs.
The Ace of Clubs, right there. All right. Now, Andrew, I'm going to ask you to divide those cards into 2 groups.
Evenly, or?
As even as you can. And now, perfect. And now, yeah, you can turn that face down, actually. Turn it face down. And now, shuffle the face up into the down.
Just like this?
Yeah, just like that. Did I pick the wrong one for this? Oh, no.
Can I shuffle like that?
Well, it's too late now. I don't have much choice.
I'm sorry, I thought you meant...
No, it's happened already. The moment's happened. You could have named any card, but you wanted the Ace of Clubs.
Right.
Watch this. The Ace of Clubs goes in the middle of the cards just like this.
Right.
I'll flip the cards over. Is that the Ace of Clubs?
No, what you
Yeah,
threw
well,
in there was
that's
there was an ace. That was what you threw in there.
Yeah.
That's what you picked.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I don't want you to think I'm doing anything fishy here.
That's fine.
You wanted the ace of clubs, right?
I did.
And the cards are all mixed up, right?
And
All right, so the ace of clubs goes in the middle.
Right.
I turn the cards over,
Yes, you did.
and now if I spread them out, you should not be able to see the ace of clubs, right?
no.
So would it be fair to say it disappeared, or is that not fair to say?
Well,
Fair for him.
Well,
Not.
I
I'll show you.
stop.
I'll show you. All right, so it's not
It
fair.
was there.
It was there. It could be gone, but we got some cards face down. Now look, I'm not going to touch cards. Turn over
very
that
well.
card. He did. Turn over that card. So it's not there. And the face down cards, you turn them over from that side. Yeah. Just turn over all the face down cards, because I'm telling you it's disappeared. I don't expect you to believe. Here, turn over the face down cards in the middle there. Turn over the face down cards in the middle. So it is gone. It is gone. And okay, that's gone. That's good. But you remember, at the start, I said I was going to make it jump from half the deck to the other. JR, I haven't come near you,
no, we haven't.
but there's a card box right by you. Now, wait. Very slowly. I haven't come near it.
It's not there.
I want you to lift very slowly. You could have named any card. We saw it over here a second ago. Lift that card box up very slowly, and under it, there it is, the ace of clubs. I'll take a high five for that, yeah. And that was a bad high five. That was bad.
Come on, man.
Now wait, you remember at the start, I said I was going to do this twice. Do you remember me saying that? I said, so now is the second time.
How'd you do that?
I don't know.
I don't either.
The ace of clubs, once again, you push the ace of clubs in and all the cards get pushed in. Watch, ready? What is it? Now look. JR, look. Nothing left in there? Nothing left in there?
It's not there. No.
I haven't come near those cards, but face down, spread those cards out. Just push it along, spread them out. Yeah, just go for it. Yeah, just spread them out. And one card, right there. Take your hand up. Right there. Ace of clubs.
You gotta be kidding.
This is a great trick. There's something cool. So you actually do get, this is what you get in the mail. You get a special deck of cards that Rick Lax teaches you how to use to do that trick. And I gotta say, Nick, when I first watched this, I'm a capable magician. I know a thing or two, and I was like, I bet I know how that works. And then when I got deeper into the tutorial, I went, wow, this is really clever, because the method that I had in my head, you couldn't have them name a card.
Right.
Which is so powerful in this, because when I think this is one of those that really becomes a magician fooler, because when you really start to put some of the stuff together in your head, you go, oh wait, that's not possible, because the audience is naming the card. The audience is shuffling cards together.
And it's a magician fooler because it doesn't really use any sleight of hand. Is that correct?
Yeah. So there's one. It's kind of a sleight. So the card appearing under the box, there's some sleight of hand that goes into that, but
getting the card to move from place to place does not.
No, card moving from place to place does not. They really do see it go into one half of the deck. It really does vanish from that half of the deck, and it really does appear underneath the box. And getting the card underneath the box is not only easy, it's already motivated. And this is something that if you've always wanted to get into card under box, this is a really nice entry into that.
Yeah.
So because you've already got a really solid trick, but now you can gain confidence in something else. It's great.
And am I right that I might have some things that might be similar to the gimmick at home, but I'm probably going to want that, right? Because of the way that it's set up.
There's a way that this is set up that you're gonna want this, because you get a full thing that Rick is going to teach you how to get absolutely into it. Michael Vandergriff, our mics have not been turned down. I think you might want to turn your volume up a little bit, but I'll check on the audio here in just a little bit. And but it's really great. I mean, you put the cards in the box. It's good.
I think it's. I mean, it would get great reactions.
Oh.
This is one of those that if I saw it when I was learning a lot of card magic back in the day, I'd be doing this all the time. I'm upset that I wasn't really aware of this trick until just recently.
Yeah, me too. This is definitely something that I'm going to be putting.
This has a spot. You're gonna have to ring in a special pack of cards.
Yeah. But that's such an easy thing, because I feel like we've talked about a lot of like special trick decks on this show today, but like this is a really easy thing where you have that in one pocket. You know, you've got your other deck of cards you're doing a bunch of stuff with. You put it away, you do some rubber band tricks. You know, maybe you buy the Nick Popa lecture when it comes out and learn some really sick rubber band tricks in that. You get done with that, you go, hey, let me do one more. You bring this out, everything's good.
Yeah. Yeah, I can see this and at a great price too. Actually, you're saving more than 25% here on this one. The list price on this is $30. You're going to get it for $18.72 with the Cool Box Live promo code on penguinmagic.com. So head on over there and save some money on a great trick by Rick Lax.
Let's move on to number 12 this week.
Well, number 12, the 12th trick of the week, man. We got a lot of deals.
We do.
We got a lot of deals on this show this week, and I mentioned that Mr. Bob Cassidy might be coming back to show us a few more mental miracles.
You asked us for some underground mentalism videos. We predicted that you would ask that.
Yes.
That's why we put this in this week.
Yes, and this is Bob Cassidy's Close-Up Killers. This is an amazing set of close-up, impromptu and non-impromptu mentalism from the master, Bob Cassidy. This is the stuff that he would do in close-up scenarios. And there's a lot of stuff on this download. I wanted to go through the effects. The effects are strangely not written on the product page on Penguin Magic, so figured we'd go through them here, and then I'll make sure to get that ad copy updated.
Tell me a little bit about them, because there's a bunch of good stuff in here.
Yeah, the first thing he covers is the White Dwarf, which is a trick that you'll hear a lot about from a lot of the mentalists that come through here on almost every Penguin Live lecture. It's the 2-envelope test that I don't want to say every mentalist uses it, but I feel like a lot of people have tried to put their own spin on this. Bob is the originator, and he's the one that kind of, made it popular. What it is you have an envelope, and inside that envelope is another envelope, and inside that envelope is a business card. The way that Bob presents it, that business card has a big X on it. Point being is that you hand it to the spectator, and they look at the envelope, and they can't see inside it. They take the envelope out. They can't see inside that one. They take the business card out. It's got the black X on it, which proves that, like, oh yeah, you couldn't see through that envelope. If you could, you would see the black X. Then he has a spectator write something down on a blank business card. It goes into the envelope, goes into the other envelope, and you can still somehow know what is written on that business card. So Bob goes through his entire approach to the White Dwarf, which is a very popular, it's one of the standout things on this download because it's been used by a lot of people. He also has an impromptu dictionary test, which is just amazing. And if you read the comments on the product page, you'll see a lot of people talk about this. This dictionary test is ungimmicked, and you can have as many people as you want, really, look at words inside an ungimmicked dictionary. He does 3 people look at a word, memorize it, memorize it, memorize it. They write the words down, and you're able to reveal the words. Great, great piece of mentalism. He also covers his billet case and how he carries his billets. Believe it or not, he uses one of those like vinyl playing card cases that you probably have gotten in some packet tricks from back in the day. But he goes over how he carries his billets around and how to transform it into an impression device. There's also a trick called the 5-card miracle prediction, which I have a clip of that we'll probably see in a little bit. So I'll show you what that is. One of the best tricks on the video is maybe also get the best name. It's called Find the Dead Guy, which is Bob's approach to the living or dead test. Just a nice little name there, the Find the Dead Guy, which is you write down the name of a dead person. It goes into one of 5 envelopes, and you're able to find, even though the envelopes are mixed and you can't see inside, you're able to find which envelope has the name of the person, and you're also able to divine that name. The dead name speller, I also have a clip that I want to show you that is a spelling trick. And then he starts to go into some trick decks, shows you some tricks, and shows you what the decks consist of. So there's something called the psychomatic deck, you might be familiar with. The psychopathic deck, which is a deck.
I'm not familiar with this one.
Yeah, I think he kind of named it himself. We're talking about some old school forcing decks here. He put a little twist on it. He said, I like to call it the psychopathic deck, so I don't blame him. But he teaches you, like, one of the tricks that's on here that is just a mind job. He's got an amazing card at number that he does with the psychopathic deck.
Oh, really?
Yep. And then he gives you his thoughts on the brainwave deck versus the invisible deck. And what he prefers.
Oh, that's interesting. So actually, which is it? What does he prefer?
Oh, he prefers the brainwave.
Oh, really?
He prefers the brainwave, and he goes into depth on why that is.
Oh, that's interesting.
And gives you his like performance of like how he presents it. But I do want to show you guys because, you know, typically when you see Bob, we're doing some awesome stage work. I think a lot of us are familiar with Bob's stage mentalism, but we all know Bob could do everything, and. Actually, just side note before we see it, you can watch Bob do a bullet catch. Do you ever see that clip?
No.
It's on YouTube. Bob Cassidy bullet catch, man. And it's old school Bob. You won't even recognize him.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, on YouTube you can watch Bob do a bullet catch, and it's fantastic. I recommend watching it. But we have some clips. They're very, very quick. Let's go with the, let's cue up the 5-card Miracle Popa. This is one that he will open a close-up set with or even a stage show. And it's a fun little, kind of like a packet mentalism trick. So let's take a look at the 5-card Miracle.
One more time, give it up for Bob Cassidy.
Well, you know, it was kind of fun tonight, reading your minds and stuff like that. People sometimes they come up to me later and say, well, how did you learn to do that? Could I do that? So that's what we're going to do now. You guys are going to do it, not me. That's what I like. Usually for me. How many of you are familiar, if any of you have seen, well, let me put one of these down. I have an extra one here. Have any of you seen ESP cards before? There are 5 different designs. There's a circle, 3 rubby lines, cross, a square, a star. This one is a duplicate of one of these. But you obviously don't know which one, correct? It's somebody who looks totally innocent. Oh, you will do. Not that you look totally innocent, but you're at a good angle for the camera. This is what we're going to do. I'm just going to move these from one at a time, from the top to the bottom. And I'm going very slowly, okay? Nothing fishy or anything like that. You can tell me to stop whenever you want me to. Just say, stop. Not like that, like, stop. Do you want this one or the next one?
The next one.
This one? Yeah. You sure?
Yep.
You have any idea what it is? No. Let's see. Wavy lines. Obviously, you could have stopped on a square, a star, a circle, a cross, but you stopped on the wavy lines. Now, do you think I made you do that, or was that you? You just knew when to do it.
That's a great.
Yeah, it's
great,
just a direct mind reading trick, right? You know what's funny about that performance is like he's handling the cards really kind of cozy. He's doing like a lot of this and stuff.
Yeah.
You don't have to do that at all. I really thought when I was watching it, I didn't know the method yet. I was like, oh, I don't know what's going on here. But there's clearly something going on with that handling, but it really has nothing to do.
I love that Bob Cassidy would be like messing with the magicians.
Yeah.
Very clearly, like, I think the magicians who are in the audience, like when you come here to film something at Penguin Live, like, especially like when we're more open and we can have people in here, magicians like flock in here to see some people, especially like whenever Bob would come to town. They were just supposed to be packed with magicians. So I love the idea that he's just being all cozy like that, just to mess.
Yeah, I don't know if he was like trying to look like he didn't know how to handle cards.
Yeah.
But it worked if
Super
he was, because but he could literally put those cards on the table, and they choose any one, and it'll end up matching.
What's the next one?
So there's another one here that I put together the clip of. It's called the Dead Name Speller. He's done with playing cards, and it's kind of a spelling trick, but you'll see how it could be interpreted as a mentalism trick. But you'll get to see Bob at a bar.
Let's go ahead and roll the clip, because I would love to see Bob Cassidy performing in a bar.
In a moment, I'm going to turn my back.
Okay.
And it's important you do exactly as I tell you to do.
Okay.
You're going to use the cards to spell out the name. He's just thinking of a name. Nobody knows what the name is. You're not going to tell me either. But you're going to spell the name out, and you're going to do it like this. Suppose the name was Harry, Harry. You would do this, Harry. You would then turn over that last card, remember what it is, turn it back down, and put the rest of the cards on top like that.
Okay.
Do you understand? You deal them one letter at a time. I'll turn my back. You people can look at what the card is. Just don't tell me, okay? I'll stare at you while he's doing it. Just go ahead. Don't make noise when you're dealing. I don't want to hear how many cards you dealt. Just one at a time for each letter. Deal them down. When you're done, turn over the last card. Remember it, turn it face down, and drop the rest of the cards on top. Have you done that?
On top of the deck?
Drop the deck on top of the cards. Yeah.
Right?
Like that.
Have you done that? Yeah. Good. Now cut the cards once. And complete the cut. So we have no estimate of what was where, okay?
Oh no.
You're play off in here.
No.
Now there's no way anyone here could know the name he's thinking of. And conversely, there's no way anyone here could know which one of these cards. It could be any one of these. Did you guys see what the card was?
Nope.
You had no idea. You
I
did.
do.
You did remember it, I hope.
Yes.
You did. Okay. My name was Bob, but of course my birth name is Robert. Let's spell out my name. Robert. R-O-B-E-R. This would be the T. The last letter of my name. And we have no idea what name you were thinking of. What was the name you were thinking of? You can tell us now.
Samantha.
Samantha. And what card came up on the final A of Samantha?
Ace of Diamonds.
Wouldn't it be something if the last card of my name was the exact same card as the one on the last letter
Yep.
of the name he was merely thinking of, the Ace of Diamonds?
Ah! Son of a bitch.
And really cool to see Bob Cassidy performing in a bar for like some college
Well, this
students.
is the stuff that he would do,
Yeah.
right? You know, this is just something with a deck of cards that you can just do impromptu, you know. So the interesting thing about this, it is a spelling trick with a deck of cards, but, you know, and these are things that I never would have picked up on. Weirdly, at the end of it, the audience gets the impression that you somehow knew the name of the person that they were just thinking of at the beginning, even though that has nothing to do with the trick.
Yeah.
It's something that they will typically come away with. Now, I wouldn't I wouldn't even believe that, but when Bob says that, it must be true.
Yeah.
Because he wouldn't do that trick otherwise, because otherwise it's just a card trick. But to Bob, the audience actually believes that he must have known the name going away from the trick. So those are the types of pieces of magic and mentalism that you're going to get on this, and you're going to be able to get it at a crazy discount for $10 less.
Yeah.
Right?
Man,
The insights that you're going to get, I mean, it's Bob Cassidy. You're going to learn so much. Read the reviews. You'll see that people are just like, man, this thing is just absolutely loaded with wisdom.
Man, I got a review here in the chat from Krutner Puppets. I was most impressed with that hair. Yeah, Bob Cassidy had some amazing hair.
Yeah, yeah, he turned into a supervillain at some point. I'm not quite sure when that happened, but yeah, we miss Bob. We love having Bob around here, but we have some great footage of Bob.
We do, and you're going to see more of it on this show as we keep doing it. But let's move on to number 13 this week. This is a great piece of stand-up mentalism from Chris Funk. This is the $1 mystery. This is a really, really interesting trick. You have a dollar bill that you fold it up and you put it in your pocket,
right.
And then you play a game with them where you're going to be like. You say like, hey, what did you think of, think of a city. And I'll draw a picture of the city. And then you turn it around and it's like, it's just a very like blocky picture. And
yeah,
you're like, hey, it's the skyline of Colorado or whatever.
Yeah.
But you do some like classic sort of like comedy magic gags, like prediction gags that everyone is aware of. But at the end, you hand them the dollar bill,
yep.
And they unfold it, and written on it are all three of the answers that they gave.
Yeah.
This is really good.
Really strong. It's like a sweep the leg type of moment, because everything is joking up until the moment that you hand them that bill, and then it's serious.
It's so good. So this is actually what you get in the mail right here. This is interesting. So there's something special in here, and also you get some note cards, which is really interesting because you could definitely do this. Like you could use your own note cards, like your own color note cards or whatever you want. But Chris walks you through how to make the gimmick and how to make another gimmick with stuff that you're going to have around the house, but you're going to use it in so many other mentalism tricks. It's a really valuable secret in mentalism.
But it comes with the gimmick.
It comes with a gimmick, and then he teaches you how to make another gimmick that is also required.
All right, right.
It's really not hard to do. It's a very simple thing. But the reason you customize the note cards is for how you would hold them, which is really interesting, because it's one of those situations where we could have just sent this to you already assembled, but there's enough nuance in the way everybody holds things that you're going to want to make it yourself.
Fair enough.
Yeah, but it's really cool. But you get it's a really nice gimmick that does.
Oh, the gimmick is.
It's really.
Smart. The gimmick is fun because like it's completely not what you'd think. It's weird. It's like a utility thing, but also like it helps you hold the cards and write on stage.
Yeah.
But also helps you accomplish the dollar bill somehow getting all of the information on it.
It's a really in-depth tutorial as well from Chris. He talks about some of the stuff that Cody Fisher contributed to this.
Mm-hmm.
He talks about like a lot of where he got ideas to put together. Essentially what this is a confabulation that is you're getting a preset routine with really solid jokes, a really nice gimmick.
You just dropped this in your show.
Yeah.
This is you learn it this super commercial, you learn it, the jokes are for everybody, and you'd be doing this right away. I mean,
the other cool thing is the first question I had when I saw this was, he puts the dollar bill in the top pocket of his jacket, and the first question I had was, well, I don't always perform wearing a suit jacket.
Yeah.
You know, or like, what if...
Like, could you do this close up?
Yeah, actually you could, and he goes into that. He teaches a couple different ways to do it, like one with a vest, one like with your jeans pocket. So like if you were a woman and you wanted to pick this up and you had pants with pockets, he also teaches you how to do it without pockets, like where the bill is sort of out in the open and then you hand it to them. There's a lot of stuff that Chris covers that makes this accessible to anybody who is not wearing like a suit and tie, like you and I are when we dress up for the stream.
Right. Did we have a performance of this? Or?
Yeah, we actually do. So tell you what we're going to do right now is, this is one of those things that you can like look at the demo, but it's really a lot more valuable to see a full performance from Chris Funk. So let's actually roll not just a clip of Chris doing it in the show. That would be a stage environment. Let's look at something where a lot more of the viewers, where we could actually see Chris doing this in a bar. So Popo, let's roll that clip.
Good. I'm amazing. Thank you. Taylor, I got a $1 bill here. I am so convinced that what I'm about to do is going to wow you, bamboozle you, fry you, that if you're not fried, I'm going to give you this buck. Hey? If this doesn't wow you, this $1 bill is yours. I'm going to keep it right there. I'm going to get you to say a couple things here. Taylor, that is your real name. Let's see. I want you to clear your mind, okay? That was quick. I'm impressed. Taylor, I want you to think of the sign you were born under. You know what I mean? Sign you were born under, okay? You got it in your brain? Focus on it. Concentrate on it. Don't say anything out loud yet. That's it. I think that's it. Yeah. Loud voice. The sign you were born under is? Taurus. Sorry, that's incorrect. Maternity ward. Okay, I should point out, $1 mystery expectations, $100 mystery expectations, $1 down here. I should have pointed that out. Okay, we'll try something else. I want you to think of a city, anywhere in North America that you'd rather be instead of where we are right now. Okay, just keep that locked into your brain. And, yeah. Got it. Boulder. Wow. I happen to have here the skyline of Boulder. Sorry, it's upside down. The skyline of Boulder. It's a bright, sunny day. Keep in mind that with inflation, a couple years ago, this would probably been the 25-cent mystery. Okay. Okay. We'll do another one here. I want you to think about where you got your socks. Got it? Perfect. The answer is? My mom. Sorry, that's incorrect. You got him on your feet. Are you not catching on here? Are you not, Taylor? You're not catching on at all? I'm getting a really strong feeling from you right now, a really strong feeling. I don't know if you noticed that you're, okay, I'm just gonna write it down. You can tell me if I'm right here or not. Yeah, that's it. That's exactly what I think you're thinking. You tell me you want the money. That's what you're thinking. I can see it in your selfish eyes. You want the money right now, don't you? You know what? I'm a man of my word. You don't seem very impressed. So I'm going to give you the $1 bill, and we'll just kind of call it even. But I should point out one thing, Taylor, is that I get premonitions. You know what a premonition is? You know, you think of someone and then they call you. Has that happened to anyone here? It's the weirdest thing on the planet. I had a premonition earlier today. I was driving around, and I didn't have anything to write it down on, so I quickly reached in my wallet, and I got a $1 bill. I also didn't have anything to write it down with, so I looked over, I saw a red marker on the floor. I grabbed the red marker, and I just quickly jotted everything down on this $1 bill. That $1 bill. There's some big words, and there's some small words. I want you to go ahead, read the big words by the arrow, and then you can read the smaller words. Go ahead, read it out loud.
Taurus, Boulder, Mom.
You can keep the buck.
Man, $1 mystery, such a good trick.
Yes.
It's just so solid. It's really interesting.
Yep.
Drops
fully
right into a
fleshed out.
show.
Yep. Anybody can do it. And you can do it for cheap now. What are you going to save? $10.
Yeah,
$10 on this.
Save it at the when you are checking out at the checkout. Make sure to enter the promo code CoolboxLive on a lot of the tricks you've seen tonight. And this video is going to stay up on both Facebook and YouTube. So if you want to come back, listen to us talk about anything, or you can't remember what it is that you're getting the discounts on, just come back and check this video out. Those discount codes are going to be good until Friday at midnight. But let's move on to a trick that Mr. Locapo has gotten very familiar with.
Oh, this is exciting to be able to offer a discount
Yeah.
too, right? It's been so much fun to bring back the Raven.
Yes.
The Raven. Penguin asked me early last year, like, hey, let's bring it back, get some new packaging, some new tutorial, and really dive in on this. And it was so much fun to rediscover the Raven. And now we're able to offer a great deal on it.
Yeah, you can enter the discount code CoolboxLive at your discount and get $10 off the Raven, the greatest close-up vanishing device of all time. And as a matter of fact, it's one thing for us to like look. I mean, let's just take a look at this video. This is really great. What's really cool is none of these are camera tricks. These are all being performed with the Raven in real time. You're doing vanishes, you're doing vanishes, appearances. There's changes. There's all kinds of different stuff. I think this is actually one of my favorite ones. This restoration is really
you can
really
like do almost anything. Like I made a Rubik's Cube. Come on, man. Like I loved all this stuff. We had so much fun. Popa helped me shoot a lot of this stuff.
Yeah.
Vanishing
we
ring.
shot that. You and I shot that.
That's a lot of
Florida.
fun to be able to change anything into anything. Or the transform a coin. Like a color change of a folded bill.
There was so much fun. There's a
Oh,
lot
here's the
of
salt
fun.
shaker.
Oh,
The salt shaker was wild.
So cool. Yeah, and these are all things you can do. But we talked about this a lot. I think what's really important is that do it.
Yeah, sure. Let's hit the overhead camera here so you guys can see. Probably one of the most classic effects is the coin. Here, get yourself centered there. Look at the camera.
Look at the camera. Oh, there we go.
The camera. One of the classic ones, we all saw David Blaine do this on TV, is you can put the coin on your spectator's hand. Here, maybe make a fist. And a little bit lower, perfect. I'm like looking at the camera so you guys can see. But you can show your hands empty, right? And then you just wave your hands over the coin and it completely disappears, right? And it's gone.
The really neat thing about this is that you're showing your hands on both sides, which is really interesting because we've talked about this on the stream before. There was in the original one, the original time that this came out, I think it was Chuck Leach was the one who put it out. There was a move in there that you took and like really explored.
Right. Yeah. So like we're live here, and I'm not quite. Maybe you caught something there. I'm not quite sure. We're not here to like completely hide the method from you on this because I want you to understand what this is.
Yeah.
And actually use it. This is a pull device.
Yeah.
That uses.
Something that can attract
Yeah,
many things
man.
to it.
Okay, let's we're talking magnetic items here. Okay, so yes, Chuck had a way of displaying your hands empty. Right now. I'm engaged. I have the gimmick in play right now.
You heard
at
it
any
here first,
point,
ladies
see,
and gentlemen.
watch this. Watch. I can make the coin appear in my hand, right?
Yeah.
Because I have the gimmick actually ready and in play right now.
It's so
and then
good.
when I want, I can get rid of it using my sleeve here. Okay.
Now, when you get this too, the training video has been really updated so that you also learn how to do it in without sleeves, using a button-up shirt, using T-shirts, using a hoodie. There's all kinds of different ways you can hook it up. And Nick goes into a bunch of different explanations on some of the advantages, the appearances, the transformations when you're changing one thing to another, or the card restoration. There's some neat stuff in there where I think a lot of us, when David Blaine first did it, we all bought it and we went, this is cool, I'm going to vanish a coin. But when you really start to play with some of the ways that you can put stuff, that you can use non-magnetic items with this, it really opens up a huge world.
Right. My goal was, when I was making this video, is for people to do it.
Yeah.
Right. Because I just remember going back and I get the paper instructions and I'm like, it doesn't quite. It's not the right length, or we try to cut all of that out and make it streamlined enough so anybody can pick this up and do it. So it does have new packaging now. Everything that you're going to get is in this cool little box, right? And
you're gonna get
there's
stuff
some
in there
special stuff in there.
Immediately do it.
Yeah, I don't know where that went.
Oh, it's right there on the ground.
Oh,
That's
okay,
fine.
we'll get it later.
Yeah.
But everything comes inside of here. You're going to get some things that you can play with right away.
Yeah.
There is a penny turtle shell type of thing in there, with some routines that I teach that you can do with all that stuff.
That's really exciting. And
because
then
there's just stuff there's so much good stuff, and now you can get it at a great price.
Yeah, it's fantastic. But let's move on.
Move on.
We got one more thing to talk about this week, and this is something I'm really excited about because this goes way back into the Penguin archives. This is Jay Noblezada teaching the muscle pass. This is really, really exciting because this is, I think, one of the things we should do right now is we should go to the clip that we have going on here, let it play between us. There's a lot of exciting things going on here. This is peak Penguin magic. This is like way back in the day. The days like, sort of posts, maybe O's was still around here, but then Jay Noblezada was hanging out. So we're doing some weird stuff in the desert. There's
the muscle pass only works in the desert, right?
No, as it turns out, you can do this anywhere. You don't have to be in the desert.
Oh,
how's your muscle pass?
I will say my muscle pass, the first one is always great.
Yeah,
but everything after that is usually pretty rough.
It's a fantastic. Whoop, there we go.
Well, maybe you should tell people what it is.
Yeah, so the muscle pass is basically a way that you can secretly propel a coin. So here I'm doing it from hand to hand. Jay actually does it. He talks about doing it where you would like reverse time. So you would like drop a coin and then you would muscle pass it back up so that you're reversing time. Here's what's interesting about this DVD, which also you can get as a download, is that Jay goes into the history of the muscle pass, like where it came from, how it got popularized, and a bunch of different uses with it. He then teaches you really interesting stuff about choosing a coin to learn the muscle pass with, which is something that, like, when you first get into it, I don't think people go, oh, you can muscle pass anything. Like, I can muscle pass $50. I'm not good at it, but learning to do the muscle pass with $50 is a bad idea. Here's what you should learn a muscle pass with is this particular type of coin or a poker chip, and here are the qualities in those objects to go with. Then you learn 7 routines with the muscle pass. So like you don't just like learn this, like the ability to shoot a coin up.
Yeah.
You learn a really great coins across. You learn how to do it as a click pass with other coins. And then there's some really interesting B-roll at the end of the I watched this last night, and it is amazing because he does this routine where he's also like doing some stuff where he hands it out, but then the coin shoots back here. So there's a lot of like, hey,
like one coin routine stuff?
Yeah, it's like a one coin routine where I'm like, hey, hold on to the coin, hold quick or it'll jump back. Did you see it jump back? Here, look, this is how it jumps. Like, there's a bunch of different stuff going on. In addition to that, he does it on the Las Vegas Strip for adults, kids, young people, old people, college students, sober people, drunk people. He does it for everyone, and you see the same reactions happen over and over and over again. So you can tell that Jay has really done the work in this. So close.
So close. I get some good height on that one. It was about like, what do you think? About like that?
Yeah, yeah.
About
It was
like
this big. No. The other thing that's really interesting that I think, I really wish this was at the beginning of the DVD and not at the end, but Jay does a little documentary in this on his learning the muscle pass with his left hand in 7 days. Because I know that when people first start learning the muscle pass, they kind of get discouraged because it takes some time to learn.
Yeah.
And so to see Jay Noblezada, who is doing the muscle pass this entire DVD, I mean, he's getting like 2-3 feet of distance, go, this is me learning day by day in my left hand, which he couldn't do the muscle pass with because he'd only learned it with his right hand. Really, really interesting because it makes you go, oh, you can learn this. It just takes time and you see the whole process.
This is the best place to learn it.
This is my favorite trick on the whole. Yeah, it's a coin through window, which I feel like, so my partner was very mad at me last night because I saw this and then I immediately went down to our brand new sliding glass door and did it, and she was like, you're gonna break the door. And I was like, look how cool this is. She was like, stop doing that to our window. But it looks way better in real life than it does on camera because the camera kind of sees everything, but when you take the coin and you go like this and then you slam it against, like we all kind of saw what was going on in that clip, it's a really great coin through window that is very, very effective.
Yeah.
I can't speak highly enough. Things like over an hour long, it's really, really good.
Yeah, this is definitely the place to learn it if you have any interest in it. I know that when I first saw the muscle pass, I was like, what is that?
Yeah.
Made my jaw drop a little bit. Who's got the best muscle pass you've ever seen?
The best one I've ever not seen is Shutagawa because I think he talks about it on some of his DVDs that have come out on like exactly how he uses it secretly. But in the credits of this, Jay talks or pays tribute to some of the people who do it really, really well. There's a coin magician that I know pretty well from, we used to hang out a lot in Los Angeles. Bob Bolivar does it really well. I've seen a lot of really good ones. But I've also seen that like people like have competitions where they're like, put their hand on the ground, see how.
I used to live at the Magic Estate in Orlando.
Oh yeah.
And one of the things that we used to do would be like the muscle pass competition, and Jeff Kaler has a pretty famously large muscle pass. As you would say, it's about this big, right? Then probably the best muscle pass I ever saw was Mike Eaton.
Oh yeah. Because he does it like.
Well, so Mike's one of those guys that. He loves to perform when other magicians are watching for laymen.
Yeah.
Because I've seen Mike Eaton muscle pass up spectators' sleeves and using that spectator's sleeve as a holdout.
Oh, that's crazy.
And then he'll get the coin to fall out later. I've also seen, I remember one time Mike was performing. Mike loves to do this thing where he's performing to the spectator, right? And then he'll kind of like wink at you, the magician. And I swear to God, let me come into frame here.
Yeah.
He like looks over his shoulder at me, winks, and then muscle passes from this hand up his own sleeve, right? So it goes from like here to here as he winks, as he's like stealing the spectator's watch or something, right? Because he's a total monster. So shout out to Mike Eaton.
So
anyway,
look, here's the deal. If you
do cool stuff.
If you've ever wanted to learn the muscle pass, this is definitely the place to do it. It's Coolbox Live promo code while you're shopping. So you get this for $14.95. It's also available as a download. But the DVD is kind of fun. And frankly, if you've been a Penguin customer for as long as I've been, this is like getting in the Wayback Machine, and it's so worth getting in the Wayback. Even if you don't ever want to do coin magic. This is so worth buying it.
Yeah, the muscle pass is something worth fun to play with and like learn and just have handy around. I've always enjoyed it.
But the nostalgia is hard with this DVD, and it's so worth it.
Well, Eric, we did 25% on a lot of tricks tonight.
We did some really, really great stuff. I think that this has been exciting. I hope you guys have liked the format change. Thanks for sticking around with us through some of the technical difficulties we had early on. We are just going to make this show better and better and better. And Nick, like we always do, what do you
want to buy? Well, so, I already have a lot of this stuff. But if I had to, obviously the things to get tonight, for sure. Like the best deals I feel that were tonight are got to be Richard Osselin #1, because it's just a huge discount off that product. And #2 is probably the Raven. If you don't have it, you might as well get it for $10 off. I mean, that just makes a lot of sense. And if the lectures are great too. So
lectures are really, really solid.
Either one, it doesn't matter to me.
I think if you put me on the spot, since we've been doing this every week, what are you going to buy? I think for me, it's going to be $1 mystery. And that's the one that I think that I'm like, I can see myself doing that.
Yeah,
pretty solid.
I put these lists together, you know, we kind of like as a group, but I was like, I'm going to make sure Erik gets that one because I knew you hadn't seen it. And I was like, I think he'll like it because it's really good. Yeah.
Well, I think that brings us to the end of this week. We are going to be back next week with more deals. We have the ability to have some fantastic deals. Remember,
good till Friday.
Coolbox Live at checkout.
Friday. What's the date on that?
Friday at midnight.
Then the 23rd.
23rd. So it's good until Friday the 23rd at midnight. At which point we are going to reload up the Coolbox Live with a whole bunch of new tricks. Next week we're going to be back with a whole new list of tricks that you can have big savings on. We're very excited about that. We'll have some more performances, maybe some special guests. It's going to be really exciting. Thanks to Nick Locapo for doing this. Thanks to Kevin Relic for joining us on here. Thanks to Nick Popa for doing an amazing job.
Yeah, we'll get him on camera next week.
Oh man, believe me, this stream is probably one of the more complex things we've ever done here, and Nick's done a great job. My name is Erik Tait. Thank you all for watching. We'll see you next time.
Thank you.